Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the last panel. I am Steve, and today we are going to be talking about our favorite sitcom slash comedy TV shows, blocks of television, however you want to describe what we are going to be saying and or talking about. But with me as always, our awesome panel. But firstly, if you'd like to, always keep up with us on this channel every Friday. Hit that subscribe button, like, and notifications if you want to know when we're going live. If not, then, that's fine too. Go fuck yourself. There's that. So...
Way to bring him in here.
Like, subscribe, or fuck yourself.
I'm a very warm guy. I'm a giving man, as they say. But to my right is Gray Poupée. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, I did the right mute this time. I'm doing good on this 420 weekend. Yeah, good times, man. Everything is great.
Dude, you know what else works really well? Not muting.
What's that?
That always lets you talk.
But they need to hear me talking shit behind. I enjoy the way that it is. I just need to get better on the mute button.
Oh, okay.
You've had enough practice, haven't you?
Like a kill switch.
I mean, I don't know if I've had 10,000 hours, but I'm close.
It's that expert hours you're going for.
I'm trying to.
To the right of him is Lunchbox Warren. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You have a good week?
Yeah, just been prepping for the show that I got to do, or I'm doing tomorrow, and got everything all packed up, all my con stuff set up, and our gear packed up and ready to go put in the car, and
awesome.
Did a bunch of artwork, and
cool.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
You should start selling plaques of the gym MSK and just don't tell people what it is. And see if it sells. Just see if it's like some random person out there just ends up with one of them, and they're just like, I don't know what this is, but it's appealing.
It looks awesome.
Below him is Charles. Charles at Willis Greedia. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, I'm good.
How's your week been?
It's good. I'm celebrating my anniversary with my wife tomorrow, so there's that.
Congrats, man.
Congratulations. That's
my longest marriage so far.
Woohoo! Yes!
Oh, yeah.
We did it! Well, that's awesome, man. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And to many more of them. And
indeed.
To his left, Bob. Bob loves movies, or... I can't even say.
What was it that you called it?
Bob Lavis Mavius.
Yeah, that's it right there.
You must be Russian or something.
I think that's hilarious, man. I'm looking forward to when that video comes out.
I'll post it. I'll post it here soon.
So, but no, man, doing good. Good to be here. Can't wait to talk about this. When I started going through this list, I was like, God, I forget how many that I've seen over the years. And it was a little tougher to rank them than what I thought it would be, just because there are so many that I like. But yeah, I think I'm satisfied with my list here. Until I hear you guys spew off something, I'll be like, "Oh, damn, that should have made my list right there."
It's interesting because like I made pretty quickly because I don't watch as much television, so there's a lot like that I own on DVD, and I'll go back and watch a lot. But it was weird to go like on IMDb and see like what the top rate, like how the rate, and there was like some that were lower like scored but higher ranked. So it was like weird to see what other people really, really like. And stuff that I thought would be high was not high at all. And there were shows on there that I had no idea what the hell they were. And I was like, oh, okay. Sure. All right then. But yeah. So we'll go around the horn like we usually do. What brought you to sitcom television or comedy television, however you want to describe this as, that half hour to hour block of TV? For me, this is going to be so dumb and I'm so old, is my dad used to watch Barney Miller. And I didn't really know what it was. But after that was WKRP in Cincinnati. And I actually thought, I was like, this is kind of funny, like, because it was like a radio show, but like at the same time, it was more about the people there. And another show that spawned from it, News Radio, was one of my favorite shows. So I kind of got into it the older fashioned way. But Gray, how did you get into
Well, you see, I was raised by television, so yeah, I don't know. Most of my childhood was just spent parked in front of a TV. Like, here's your babysitter. I'm out of here. So I don't know, man. I think the first ones that kind of like registered with me were probably the ones that were like the daily syndicated ones. I think that was like Full House, and I'm trying to even remember which other ones there were. Who's the Boss? Shit like that.
Mhm.
I don't know. I got into sitcoms via bad sitcoms, but man, there is so much to go on. I'm kind of jealous that you got to start with a Barney Miller, which such a great theme
Oh,
song
great.
compared to like
Yeah.
Full House or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It was just it raised me, so it's hard to be mad at sitcoms. I don't know. It was just always there for me.
It's
So,
like when we first got cable and Nick at Night had started, like it was like one of the things that started. They had like Barney Miller for an hour, WKRP, and then they went to like old procedural shows like that show Emergency, the ones with the firefighter ambulance guys or whatever. Like, and my parents just used to watch that stuff religiously. So like half of it was to just stay up later than I normally. I'd be like, oh, but I want to watch this. It was just mainly I wanted to stay up later. But I ended up really liking WKRP in Cincinnati, and that kind of got me started doing that. But Warren, how did this happen for you?
My family was like that stereotypical 90s family where we had dinner in front of the TV.
Nice.
You know, we had the dinner trays and the whole
Nice.
deal. And when I spent time with both my parents worked. So when I spent time with my grandparents, all they did was sit all day in their recliners and watch TV.
Mhm.
And it was just all kinds of stuff from MASH to Cheers to Lonesome Dove to just all that stuff. And I was essentially just kind of like with Grace, you're just raised by it. It was I've watched, like in the 90s, I was watching entire runs of these TV series, and where you're like excited to find out what happens the next season because two characters got together, or it's like Corey started dating Topanga or some stuff along those lines, and everyone was just I was just enthralled by it. And there was a lot of them that even if I didn't like it, it was what was on.
Mhm.
During summer though, it sucked because during the day my mom liked watching the soap operas. But I do remember you talk about that emergency show. Remember Rescue 911 with William
Shatner? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that was so good. Or there was Murder, She Wrote, or as me and my brother call it, the Nosy Bitch Files. There's all sorts of stuff.
You could make a case that she might be the largest murderer in the history of murderers just by her showing up. People get murdered wherever it doesn't matter. She could go.
Even if you didn't think she's a
Italy.
murderer, that entire town had to hate her because everything that happens, she just shows up and she's in your living room judging you.
Yeah,
like,
that's very true.
It's like
that's very true.
the cops had to hate her.
What's funny is like because I had rewatched that with my mother recently, right? Because I bought her like the box set and she wanted to see it. And only a certain amount of episodes took place in her hometown. So like they were traveling all over the place and murder followed her.
Everywhere she went.
Everywhere.
She could go to
The
Disneyland.
Nosy Bitch Files.
That's what me and my brother we get stoned and watch it and call her the Nosy Bitch Files.
That's fantastic.
Get out of here, you nosy bitch.
Charles, same question.
Kind of similar to you. I in the beginning I associated sitcoms with having to go to bed. If anything, it was like PTSD because I had this existential crisis because I knew it was Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, and then I had an hour, and then it was lights out time where it was like, please play something good. And whatever that first hour was, I never really enjoyed the shows the way I was supposed to because it was like, oh, only one more show before I have to go to bed. I'm not tired, and just none of it was soaking in. It was just having this minutes counting down thing that I don't know. In hindsight, after I got over that. Or during summer break, I guess it was a little bit easier to cheat that. But it was always a thing. When my uncles were around, I watched like movies that I was not allowed to watch. But my mom would watch sitcoms, and my grandparents would watch all of that. Everything that you guys have brought up. It's like my experiences were cool stuff with the uncles, sitcoms with the ladies in the family. So I had this interesting mix of television education in my youth.
Yeah, so we had to eat dinner at the dinner table. Like my dad was all about until when my brother and sister, my oldest brother and oldest sister, when they finally left, right? They like me and my other sister convinced them like let's watch TV while we eat, and then we did get like TV trays, and we were watching television. Now it was what they wanted to watch because you know we were very structured in what we were allowed to watch, but they did watch some of the some funnier old TV shows, and there was a few that I really really liked that I was surprised that they let us actually watch with them, and one of them was Night Court because that was on at like 5 o'clock, in the afternoon. And I was very surprised. That's why I always bring up Yakov Smirnoff because he's not there. And
he's got nothing on Bull, man.
He doesn't. Richard Mole is quite the character. But Bob, same question, sir.
Yeah, kind of like everyone else. But my parents they liked watching a lot of sitcoms, and I was just kind of introduced to it as they were watching them. I remember watching Night Court as a kid. So it's funny that you mentioned that one because I was going to say that one. Cheers, The Cosby Show, and then of course you had some of the older stuff. MASH, Happy Days. Some of these others that they would watch like in syndication and stuff like that. So I was introduced to it around that time. When I was pretty young, and then of course when you become 7, 8 years old, some of the other sitcoms that you're a little more familiar with, or shouldn't say familiar with, but you're more at an age where you can actually kind of get into it. Full House and Saved by the Bell and some of these others start coming out, and so you start getting attached to them, and that's kind of what happened with me. I got attached to them right around that age when I was around 8, 9 years old, and started having my own thoughts as to which ones I really liked. So yeah, but I was exposed to them pretty early.
That's awesome, man. It brings back a lot of nostalgia. I think that's probably one of the most nostalgic things because most everybody had a television, and even if you didn't have cable, you had like over the air, like syndication, as we talked about, and there was always something on before your local news. And then, like Charles said, it was Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, or Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, however it went. And then there was your block time night. It was like on NBC they had Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday, and ABC had Friday. That was their big night, was TGIF or TGIT if you're in the 2026 era, which is don't miss it, by the way. It's a pretty good show. But I'll start this off. We'll just go around like normal. We'll go me, Gray, Warren, Charles, Bob, and back up to me. So my number 10 is Night Court. It is Night Court. It's one of those shows that I was too young, like not too young, but like I was, I think what it's starting like 84, 85, something like that. I mean, we'd have to see
mid-80s,
look it up.
Yeah.
It was in the 80s. I know that because it was in syndication while it was still on television, like because it was on Nickelodeon. I know that for sure. And then there was new episodes were on Monday night, and I remember watching them because that was one of the few times I was allowed to stay up past 9 o'clock because it came on at like 9 or 9:30 or something like that. And yeah, that show to me had just Dan Fielding. My God, the amount of like womanizing. What happened? Oh, did I freeze up here? Oh wow, my whole screen froze.
Only when you said womanizing.
Oh yeah, the whole womanizing of Dan Fielding would just like cracked me up, in the relationship with him and the what was her name? It was Marky Post. What was her name? Christine? Yeah, it was Christine, right? I think it was. It was really
right.
good. And
Works for me.
The two old bailiff women were just hilarious before Roz came in, with Bull and Larry or Harry. That character came over pretty much. It was like almost like a spin-off of his character from Cheers, even though that character was just more of a grifter. It was just Harry, right? He He was just like a grifter type of guy, but it was still like with the magician type stuff and all that. I know he loved doing that stuff. But yeah, just that whole show, man, just the amount of stuff doing and getting away with on network television, like the smoking, the women in bikinis, like just having like prostitutes on, like where some of the cold opens for the show were just ridiculous. It would be like just the Harry just looking, and then they'd pan over and it would be like two yokels with a sheep and then a freaking half naked woman next to him. Like why is this happening? But that's my number 10, and I love that show. I could go back and watch it at any point in time. Really, really like it. Yeah. So Gray, you're number 10, sir.
Yeah. So this might be a little bit controversial
already.
I don't think it's going to be on anyone's list, but I implore you. I think there's a lot that happens in this that really sticks with you. I know I've made countless references to this, but back in '02, it counts, man. Back in '02, Miramax decided to get into television a little bit. So it's a Miramax television production. They partnered with ABC, and it only lasted 2 episodes, and then it was canceled. And they decided to air the episodes out of order, so it really didn't quite make sense.
So the second episode
did it have? No, episode 4 and then episode 1, but episode 1 was a flashback episode, so it was just weird as fuck. So I'm talking about the American adult animated sitcom classic, Clerks, the animated series. Man, it had so much more impact on me than a lot of other actual sitcoms. And I hold it up against any of Kevin Smith's other works. You had Dave Mandel, who was one of the writers from Seinfeld, who came in. You have, I'm forgetting his name, but the dude who did like the character design for like Kim Possible and Danny Phantom. He's the one who did these, the Clerks characters. And just, man, does this thing work for me. And it was the first time that we got Alec Baldwin on the television. Man, I believe that was the first time that he had a reoccurring character, at least. But man, Leonardo. There's so many things that just kind of. They only ever aired 2 episodes. There's only 6 in actuality, but man, there's so many times that I have quoted this thing, and that it just kind of comes up and lives in my mind. I think this had more. Yeah, Bear is driving car.
How can that be?
I actually love this thing so much. So yeah, it's the second kind of adult animated series that ABC tried to do. The first one being the PJs, which was weird as hell. But yeah, I love me some Clerks, the animated series. I think that's the one that has the most impact on me. So yeah, I went with that for my number 10.
You said it had 2 episodes total?
Yeah.
2 are the only ones that aired.
I don't think you worded that well, but yeah.
So there's actually more.
There's more episodes. There was a
DVD set has like
DVD
6
set
in total.
Okay.
That had all the episodes, but the 2 that aired, they aired them out of order. Actually, it was like number 4 or 5.
No, it was 4. It's the courtroom one, which even that, so man, funny. Like anytime I hear the word plaintiff, like I'm reliving so much of this thing.
It's just the way you presented it. Dude. You said 2 episodes and then episode 4. It's like, wait, I know how math works, and 4 is definitely more than 2.
Sorry, only 2 ever made it to air.
I was kind of like, huh?
I'm with you. I knew what you meant. Definitely.
Yeah. It's definitely a funny show.
I
give it that.
I'll check it out.
I'm a huge fan, man.
Warren, what's your number 10, sir?
Dinosaurs.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah,
okay.
Dinosaurs. I absolutely love that series, even though it has one of the most like tragic endings, probably. Like it's essentially just the meteor comes and they all gather around to die.
Hold on. First, it gets ridiculously cold, and they're like, they're fucked. Like then, the meteor comes.
Yeah, it was just a great series. I mean, it was the costuming was amazing. The puppetry was great.
Yes.
And I absolutely love that. I think it was only 2 seasons on that one.
I think 4.
4 seasons. Yeah,
I think so. I could go ahead, keep talking, but
yeah, I absolutely love that one. It was one of the ones in my childhood that I couldn't wait to watch, and yeah, it's just all around good series.
It was 4 seasons. 4 seasons.
4 seasons. Yeah.
Ran from 91 to 94. Had 65 episodes.
Yeah, it was good. I
Just
love
a couple more seasons, they would have got syndication too, paid syndication. But do you remember the steroids episodes?
Mm-hmm.
With the one he was all Robbie's friend, he was all jacked up on dinosaur steroids, like think of that. The dinosaur needed steroids. That in itself, once you got over the baby. Like the baby had funny thing, but the whole not the mama and all that stuff, that was very annoying. But but the show was written really well.
Yeah.
It was written really well. Yeah. Good Lord. Charles, what is your number 10, sir?
Real quick, someone in my chat says, "Hey y'all, would any of you watch a new movie or TV series based on Chucky versus Leprechaun? Plot: Chucky needs Leprechaun's coin for his ritual. Comedic gold ? And I feel like the Chucky television series is kind of already kind of hammy and comedic. They're halfway there.
I'd watch it, man.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Only if
great.
Warwick
What's
Davis
Freddy
is
v.
back.
Jason? But think about it, Leprechaun v. Chucky. It's perfect, man. It's the match we need.
I think that out of all the what you call these B tier horror people, maybe Leprechaun even C, but out of them, those are the two that would mix the best. Probably
the little guys.
They would mix the best, right? Don't you think?
Sure, same height.
Well, I'm just saying, like they kind of like cross over the fandom.
Have the same reach.
They definitely would be good for Rock'em Sock'em little fuck faces. They would definitely be good for that. But go ahead, Charles.
But my number 10 is something that like I had 2 separate little phases with. One as something that was on in the background that my grandparents enjoyed when I was a kid. I didn't really pay attention then. And then when it got like syndication, when I was a little bit older, I kind of enjoyed it a bit more on Comedy Central. And that show is Soap, which has I hate that I knew Billy Crystal prior to Soap, but like all of the stuff Billy Crystal did in the 80s, I had seen prior to watching Soap, and he's really funny in that show. As a matter of fact, that show is really funny. All you need to do is watch a handful of soap operas to get that. Like that show is just on the nose and quite funny and quite sharp.
Great cast. My
God. The dude from Empty Nest, I'm always forgetting his name. He was
the poor man's Leslie Nielsen.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I know him.
From Empty Nest.
Yeah. That's what I know him from. I don't know his name. But yeah, you go back and watch, and it's Mona from Who's the Boss. They're like most of the cast is just like, oh yeah, that's so and so from such and such. But it's not just that. It's the more you get into it. I mean, I think it's only 4 seasons. I think that's kind of what I held myself to is something that at least lasted 3 seasons. But Soap, I had to keep it on here. There's a show or two that.
It's a good show.
Yeah, it just kind of grew on me. I was like, all right, you know what? If it's on, I'll leave it on. So, yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah, it's funny that when Warren mentioned soap operas, and I was like, the funny thing is like, the older you get, the more hilarious soap operas are in concept. They're like cartoons, really, like people come back from the dead, like all sorts of, you know what I mean? Like just random stuff happens.
Supernatural.
But that's what's great about Soap, because they're just hitting everything.
Dude, the guy from Empty Nest has a plot line where he thinks he's dead and he could hide, or like he does this snapping thing that makes him invisible, but everyone else can see him. It's the silliest thing in the world.
That's fantastic. Bob, what's your number 10, sir?
Well, my number 10, many people would not consider the Jackie Brown of sitcoms, but I'm still going to come out swinging anyway. I'm going with Alf at number 10.
Oh,
dude, nice.
I mean, Melmac, you know what I mean? Like Gordon
Alf's
Shumway,
a lot of fun, man. It's like
that had a dark
get
ending
the type
as
of
well.
ratings that it did, where a Muppet is running around, and with with live action people and whatnot. And so yeah, it was an interesting concept. And
where's the cat?
He's always chasing the cat. They're trying to hide him from the alien task force and from all the nosy neighbors as well. And yet he keeps putting himself out there doing stupid stuff. Yeah, it's great. He's always blowing everything up in the house and everything. But it was just a lot of fun. I used to love Alf. I think my favorite episode is the one with the space roach. I don't know if you remember that one, but
No.
It's because there was a roach that was a stowaway in his spaceship.
Slime
And
ball.
yeah, it gets loose in the house. Well, they spray it, and instead of dying, it gets bigger. And so then they spray it again, and it gets bigger. And then they call it exterminator. He sees it, goes running out the door, and leaves his tank behind. And then the neighbor sprays the house, and so it ultimately ends up with him being chased around the house by this giant space roach. It's a fun episode. It's a ridiculous concept, but it was a lot of fun.
It's another show with a very dark ending. Very
dark.
Yes,
it does. I mean, they did that TV movie that really wasn't any good, that
Yeah.
they tried to give it some closure, but I mean, it ends with the alien task force capturing him.
Yeah, his people leave him.
Yeah, and you don't find out, or you find out in the TV movie that they put the Tanners, they put them into like a witness protection program or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
The 80s was so creative. Like you had the one with the robot girl.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The little girl.
Small Wonder.
Yeah, Small Wonder.
Yes. Small Wonder.
Yes.
They had like a bunch of creative sci-fi-ish sitcoms.
There was a pilot. I can't remember who it was. It might have been. You might have to correct me on who it was or look this up as I'm saying it. There was a pilot where I saw that someone was working at an airport, but it was an airport for aliens, and he was a person. And I cannot remember what the hell it was. I don't know if it was Matthew Perry. I honestly don't know who it was, but like you might have to look it up. But I know it never made air like the show. But it like that right in itself, just the concepts that were out there. They're like, we're gonna film a regular guy, and it looks just like an airport, but it's actually an airport for aliens. And you're like, wait, what? Come again? All right. So my number 9 is That 70s Show. I love that show. I don't know why I do. And it wasn't a show that I watched while it was on, except for the last season. And my God, was that awful. That last season was so bad. But it was strong, even like up to season 7. Like season 7 had one of my favorite episodes where they are all just smoking weed all day, and they think that the vacuum salesman is part of like the FBI, and they destroy Eric's mom's vacuum, but he has the lightsaber with him, the fake lightsaber. There's a scene where he's like, they're looking in the back of this truck, and they're like about ready to do it, but they open it up, and it's the dog catcher, and they just let the dogs go out, and then they're like, I think we overthought this, like, and they kind of have this back to reality moment, right, where it's like, yeah, we're just high, but then Eric turns around like this, and he's like, holy shit, man, I almost cut you in half, because he's got the fucking stupid lightsaber, and it brings it together that like they're just still stupid, they're still just dumb as fuck. And I mean, the teen drama-y stuff I didn't really care for, but I know a lot of people do like that stuff in there. I just like the comedy stuff, and I thought Fez was hilarious. That character was just ridiculously funny. And Red Foreman, like the quite possibly one of the last great TV dads.
Dumbass.
Yeah, just a bunch of fun in that show.
Yep.
It is weird watching RoboCop after watching that 70s show.
Anything that he's in, is weird watching it because you just think of Red Foreman. And I know they brought it back for like that 90s show, like on Netflix or something, and it was just awful.
It's a rough watch.
It was bad. I watched like a couple episodes and I was like, if you're not going to just bring everybody back and just make it later, then what are we doing? Like, I don't care.
Well, they can't bring Hyde back, can they?
No, they can't. Unless they want to say he went to
tried.
jail.
Can he get a work release, or can they film like from visiting?
Well,
there was that one show that they really tried. It was like a Hyde, Kelso, and Sam Elliott for some reason.
Yeah, that was that Netflix one where they were the sons living on the farm.
Yeah.
Ranchers or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hyde's terrible. Horrible person.
I agree with you. That one's pretty damn iconic. Well, I don't know if my number 9 would like match that with its legacy, but to me it works, and I've put no limits on my list, unlike Charles, who decided that it had to be, what was it, 3 seasons or something like that?
Well, you decided 2 episodes was good.
There's 6 episodes, sir, and I went off of impact. I literally looked at a list of sitcoms and was like, yeah, that one, that's in my top 10.
If it was impactful, you wouldn't need to look at a list, sir.
I'm just saying that's not true, sir. I forgot some of these, and I'm glad I looked back at that list. But I think this will count. There were 34 total episodes in this one. It spanned 3 seasons. It is on a lesser known network. It was a Hulu original, and since then Disney has decided to just like purge it off of the earth, or at least the last time I looked for it, they did. But it's a weird little show that starred Haley Joel Osment, Ed Begley Jr. Well, they were reoccurring guests, but yeah, it was created by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, and it's called Future Man. It's this weird fucking show that I don't know what it is, but it just keeps coming back in my memory. It's kind of got some 80s tropes in it. Like, it starts out, there's this aimless janitor who his sole hobby is playing this video game, and it turns out that he finally beats this unbeatable game, and it's more of a test, really. It wasn't just a game. It then triggers everything else, and there's a bunch of interesting time travel things going on in it. But man, that had way more impact, and it deserved so much more reception than it actually got. I really dig Hulu's Future Man. I'd suggest checking it out if you haven't.
Okay. I'll definitely have to check. I haven't watched that, so I'll check it out.
No one has, man. It was Hulu. It was from like 2020. I think it was the pandemic thing.
Wow.
It was great.
When everyone was home, no one watched it. That's
well, it's Hulu.
That's
watch the Hulu original.
We're too busy watching the Tiger Guy. Like,
yeah,
my God.
See, that was Netflix.
Like, why the Tiger Guy? Yes, Justin Gray, we are counting animated sitcoms. Yes.
Well, some of us are. Some of us put up rules, self-imposed.
Personal criteria, sir.
I'm allowing anything that is considered a sitcom. For instance, mine was a comic science fiction sitcom.
So Warren, you're number 9.
My number 9 is Bob's number 10. It's Alf. And I honestly think, like, I don't know if they could do well with it, but it'd be nice to see Alf get kind of the Ted treatment, where he's actually moving around more. You see him more for just the waist up.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I love Alf for all the reason Bob said. It was just a great sitcom. It was really, really funny. Actually, somewhere around here, I've got one of the Alf action figure. Yeah, it's Alf was the shit. I absolutely love it. When I was a kid, I had an Alf puppet.
Everybody knew someone in school that had an Alf T-shirt.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. It was. Everybody
just
awesome.
had Alf stuff, man.
Oh,
even Alf was on during like my middle school years. Alf was very popular, like super popular.
I had a hand-me-down little furry, like this big guy, and I used to brush his teeth, and the fabric was all stained because I tried brushing his 2 teeth. I was a moron. I don't know what else to tell you.
Hey, whatever. Hey, people loved Alf, man. Alf was good stuff.
Alf was the shit.
Charles?
So I kind of had like this split here where I was going to put one or the other, and number 9 for me could be Married with Children, but it isn't. It is Roseanne. It is the other white trash show around that time.
Roseanne was written so well, though. So
yeah.
well. First,
yeah.
like 5 seasons or 4. How many? What was it? Like it went like 9, right? Or something.
Before she got
10.
rich. Before Dan died and before they got rich, and then I haven't really checked in on the re-release. It was really solid. Like
really
it was like, hey, it's a real version of lower middle class. It was like problems that me, as someone who did not live in a house and have all members of the family doing all these different things, it was something that I could relate to, and it was pretty sharp. And a lot of the jokes that I didn't understand as a child, the adults in the room certainly laughed at and appreciated, and they loved it a lot. So it was on a lot, and it was an interesting way for me to learn that what I was going through was normal to someone. And watching it back, as a teenager, as an adult, it still hits. Little dated.
Great opening too, man. Fantastic opening.
Oh yeah,
like because you don't think they at that point in time, you just say white trash. You don't think of the family dynamic that way, because everything was polished. Married with Children and Roseanne was different. It was different. Married with Children was way over the top,
right?
But there was a lot of stuff, like the fact that they were able to handle certain situations that come up in real life.
Right.
With Darlene, with the kid, with DJ, like some of the stuff, like there was that one episode with them talking about abortion, and DJ was hiding in the garage, and Dan was pissed, and Jackie was all mad at him because she felt like he wasn't supporting Roseanne, but he was actually scared, and DJ heard everything. And then freaking, she yelled at him to get out, and he was like, "You're not my mom." It's exactly like, you know what I mean? Like exactly what was said. And then he looks at his dad, and his dad's like, "Get out." He's like, "Okay, I'll see you."
And Sandra Bernhardt's character was bisexual, if not just a straight lesbian, a gay lesbian.
Yes.
And it felt like it was the first time that wasn't used as a punchline in a major sitcom, which was progressive. A lot of people need to see something in a sitcom before they can be like, oh, all right, this isn't completely crazy. It's really interesting to see some of the things, some barriers that they broke. I think Murphy Brown gets credit for the first gay relationship, but I think Roseanne, Sandra Bernhardt's character specifically, was like the first time that it like kind of got massaged in, where it's just like, hey, this isn't the butt of a joke here. This is
it's actually it's an actual person,
right?
It's an actual person, which is. But Troy McClure says the episode about DJ Jack and it is fucking, dude. That conversation he has with Dan whenever he tries to tell him what it is, but he just calls it, and he's like, "Do you do it?"
Well, it's if you look at those 80s and 90s sitcoms, they handled stuff that they screw up now, like you would call the woke stuff. Now they handled it so much better because they handled it so much more naturally than they do now. It's all kind of ham-fisted and almost like a caricature and a parody, because it's people who probably don't really know anything about it trying to pander to a group. Back then they were really spot on, and they handled it like real characters. Like almost like
not every single person accepted it. Not every person accepted it. It was like more like real people. There were people that were like, okay, cool. There was other people like, oh, what the fuck? Like, that acted like real people.
Relatable.
Like, relatable. Not saying that it's right or wrong, but they handled it in the way that was more realistic than any other way.
Yeah,
I think they did a better service to it back then than they're doing now.
They weren't taking a side. They were just saying, hey, here's what one perspective would be, and here's what another perspective would be. We're not saying either side is right, but this is how people do things.
And that's true. That's very true. That was a great show, man. Great show. Bob.
My number 9 features another set of Tanners, and that is the Full House.
Oh,
I really liked Full House. That came out around the time of where, like I said, I was real impressionable to sitcoms and stuff like that. So,
well, you had to be to like Full House.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit old, just a little bit.
But at the end of the day, I thought it was a fun sitcom. Is it necessarily one of the best sitcoms out there? No. But it was one of my favorite. Every episode ended with a lesson of some kind, and either Danny or Jesse or Joey would be giving a speech of some kind, usually to the kids or something, and there was a lesson to be learned in every episode. And
was it made of wood?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was a fun sitcom, and because, like I said, it came out around that time where I was very impressionable, it made my list, so it's my number 9.
All right, dude, it was a hugely popular show. That's one of those shows that a lot of people watch and then they say they didn't watch. I watched it with my sister.
I didn't.
Like I remember the freaking Hawaii episodes, like everybody wanting Jesse and what was her name?
Aunt Becky. Never forget.
Becky,
yeah, to get married and all that shit. Yeah. And I
was popular enough to spawn a whole second series, kind of like Roseanne. Yeah, it was popular enough to do a whole nother run.
Yep. So my number 8 is News Radio. I love News Radio. Love that show. It's the only thing that I could tolerate Andy Dick in. It's the only thing.
It's so true, though.
Just the characters in that show, like Jimmy James is, Patrick Warburton is his nemesis, Johnny Johnson. Like everything is like so perfectly matched. Joe Rogan, it's one of the few things he's in that I'm like, you were good at it. Like I actually thought he was very funny in that show. And Phil Hartman, god damn, dude, we missed a huge chunk of hilarity when he was murdered, man. Just, man, so many Simpsons characters, so many great. They did Bill McNeil's backstory, like some of the stuff that like when they wanted to get the sandwich machine taken out of the office because the sandwiches were like 10 years old, and Bill gave this story about how like he's the only one who eats those sandwiches and they're just like his mom made. Yeah, like just like his mom made. He's like, when your mom makes you stay outside the house for 2 days in a row and she leaves you a bucket of sandwiches on the front porch and you hear him eating them and it's just and you're just like, oh god, they have to be terrible. And he loved them. Just everything. Even the season when they had John Lovitz come in and take that position, it wasn't nearly as good, but it did have one of my favorite scenes in all of television, when the cast basically read those letters. And it was basically them saying goodbye to Phil Hartman, but it was, saying goodbye to the character. That was very cool, man. Really, really cool. Sometimes TV can do some really cool things. But yeah. That was my number 8. So Gray, your number 8?
Good choice, man. I highly respect that one. So mine might not nearly be as respected. It might not make certain people's lists due to criteria that is self-imposed, but this one only had 2 seasons, but it is a total of 20 episodes. For me, that counts. Again, I think they made that marathon of actually getting on air. That's awesome. There's so many weird pilots that I absolutely love. I wouldn't include those on this list, but I would include this one at number 8. So I'm pretty sure none of you guys have heard of it. Maybe one or two of you, but it had Joe DeRosa in it. It had Steel Panther. It had Jeff Ross, Jim Norton, Greg Giraldo. It had Daryl Hall, Melissa Rivers, Patrice O'Neill, Gilbert Gottfried, Dave Attell, Sebastian Bach, Dee Snider, Dave Navarro, Marky Ramone, John Popper as this huge reoccurring role, and Joan Rivers quite a few different times. it was this little IFC show. They saw what HBO was doing with Curb, so in 2008 they decided to kind of dip their toes into the same type of what would you call that? Somewhat improv sitcom. Like you have
I
the
know what you're talking
situation
about.
that's out.
I know. Now.
So it was my introduction to one of my favorite comedians of all time, Big J. Okerson. He gets fifth billed in this amazing show. It was called Z-Rock. I'm sure none of you guys have heard of it, really. Apparently, Lapsed has. Hell yeah. But yeah, so there's this. It's all shot in Brooklyn, and it is one of the most New York shows as well. But yeah, so this Brooklyn band, they're ZO2, this rock band, but they do that at night, and they play the hard rock to pay the bills. Though they need to do something different in the day, and they do children's parties, so they just sing like kind of nursery songs and weird shit like that. But with that kind of Trailer Park Boys meets like Curb Your Enthusiasm, cinema verite style, man, this thing, it really works for me. And then the addition of all those previously mentioned comedians, man, it just had this impact on me that I didn't expect from it. Warts and all,
how I heard of that show?
Nowhere near polished. Yeah, how, man?
Steel Panther was on Chris Jericho's podcast.
And Chris Jericho also on the show.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to get to. And then they talked about being on that TV show. So that's how I can't remember what episode I watched, but it was funny. I just never watched it again.
It's this weird snapshot of the time. It is nowhere near perfect. It definitely comes below some of those previously mentioned ones. But man, again, I wish more people kind of knew of this thing because it is stacked. And man, it is the best John Popper anywhere. Like, I didn't love this guy. I kind of hated Blues Traveler. But after watching this show, I think John Popper is one of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever seen. And man, he's got me hooked.
You could say
I will go ahead and watch
you the
them.
Runaround until you saw him on the show.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's enough of that. No.
So I see Troy's comment that he's waiting for Heil Honey, I'm Home. Are any of you guys familiar with that very strange sitcom that came out?
Yes, we are.
Gray's not about anything that has some sort of.
The funny part is like if you ask that question, just by the name of it, you could pretty much figure out what it is. You know, but yeah, Warren, you're number 8, sir.
My number 8 is Cheers.
Oh, it's
Ted
not
Danson.
It's not Heil Hitler.
No, it's not Heil Honey, I'm Home.
Oh, wait, that
which
show
sounds
has like
a
hundreds of episodes.
1940s sitcom, like, while Germany was rocking. No, mine's Cheers. Yeah, I was always on. Like my parents and my grandparents both watched it all the time, and I remember that's where I first saw Woody Harrelson. Ted Danson was on it. Who else was it?
There's a bunch of people. That's where Frasier came from. Rhea Perlman's on there.
Shelley Long.
Shelley Long started
Kirstie
there.
Alley.
Kirstie Alley. Actual good replacement, like where someone left the show that was very liked. Even though I wasn't a big Diane fan, but like,
yeah. Then Frasier spun off his own show.
Off of there.
That which was
Lilith,
a good show on its own.
Lilith is on there. Freaking George Wendt, like the funniest thing he's ever done. And
what about Ratzenberger?
John Ratzenberger, dude. Cliff Clavin. I will talk about Cheers later. Don't worry. I have a lot to say about that show.
Spoiler.
Cliff Clavin might be one of the best characters in all of television. Hey, you see there, Nami?
And he's able to take that character and go through Toy Story, like 3 or 4 different Pixar films.
It's so true. He's the same guy.
The same guy. And he's like a truck, and he's a dinosaur. And was he the pig or was he the dinosaur? Oh, he was the pig on Toy Story, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the bank.
Yeah, the pig bank.
Great.
Yeah.
Great show. Charles?
My number 8 was Lapt's number 9, and that is that 80s show. Oh, excuse me, that 70s show. The 80s show had less than one full season, so that will be on Gray's top 10. It's interesting to watch a show that was written in the 90s and 2000s about decades prior, and they weren't able to recapture that magic with that 90s show now. But yeah, it was something that like it felt like it was written for my age range at that point, you know, being a teenager at the time, but not really matching like the societal things that were happening. I was a big Star Wars fan. There was a bunch of Eric Foreman going to Star Wars and like having that affect his life for like most of the show, if I'm not mistaken. It was something like, hey, I know that. It's interesting to have this fictional story happen around that time because I didn't exist yet. It's fun to see this and relatable.
It has one of the best Star Wars-esque lines in it when he's sitting there and Red's talking to Eric and he's like, did Luke Skywalker? And then Red cuts him off. He's like, Luke Skywalker this, Luke Skywalker that. I'm tired of you talking about that little fruit. And he's like, him and Leia, clearly not knowing like what happened later in the movie. Just like, it's one of my favorite scenes about Star Wars.
Yeah, but like you said, it definitely falls off towards the end there. But I think the first 4 or 5 seasons are strong enough that it warrants being on the top 10 for me.
Yeah, it's a great show. It's a great show. Has some of the best DVD collections too. Some of the best, like so many special features, behind the scenes stuff, all sorts of stuff, mini documentaries, all sorts of things on there, which I thought were great. And I was buying them as they came out. And, you know, because you never think like, oh, they're going to put it in a giant collection in Blu-ray and way better quality, but I'll buy these NTSCs, like big giant box sets. But yeah, I love that show, man. Great show. Great cast too. My goodness.
Indeed.
Mila Kunis was only 14 years old.
Yeah, she lied so that she could work on the show.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And
good for us.
So weird because Kelso and her had some interesting scenes, I'll say. And he was of age, we'll say.
Well, I mean, like,
I know it's acting, but it's still weird.
Someone brought up Boy Meets World. Like, I, as a young child at that point, was smitten for Topanga, but realizing that there were some male gaze shots on what was a 12-year-old girl at the point doesn't sit well with me as an adult, but
no,
they shot that for me as a kid, so thank you.
And that was 70 show was counterculture to what was popular at that time. I mean, it was like Fox's biggest show at the time, you know, and
Fox wasn't big on sitcoms yet, other than Married with Children, which was like
right. And that was
years
earlier,
before at that point.
And they were, you know, they had some, but it wasn't like that big, you know.
Yeah, Fox was always like secondhand. Like they had Mad TV to try to compete with SNL, but it just didn't catch on the same way.
Yep. It's a great show though. But Bob?
My number 8, The Wonder Years.
Such a good show. Such a good show. I have the box set upstairs.
The Wonder Years. The Wonder Years was just excellent. I mean, a good coming of age story, and you know, through the whole show, he's chasing after Winnie Cooper. He doesn't end up getting her at the end. You find out he actually ended up getting married to somebody else and whatnot. But it's just a good coming of age story, and there's a lot in that show, especially growing up, that you could relate to. And I also loved the inner monologue, and then how a lot of times it just never synced up with what was actually happening. You know, he'd be sitting there in the monologue saying, my dad, I knew he looking at me, that he understood completely where I was coming from. And then all of a sudden the dad would be like, Kevin, go to bed. And all of a sudden the voice would be like, you know, that jackass or something like that. You know, it was just really cool. It was a good, fun show. It was the setting, I think, adds to a lot of the tension because of some of the stuff that's going on, you know, with Vietnam. I think there was that episode where brother's friend went to Vietnam.
Yeah, it was Winnie's brother.
The sister was getting into like the peace movement and whatnot, which really upset the father. And so there was a lot of stuff going on in that show that I just think made for some really good television. So I loved the Wonder Years.
Yep. Dude, the gym teacher who ended up playing the hologram doctor on Star Trek Voyager. Dude, the gym teacher, some of the stuff with the gym teacher was so funny, dude. So good. So good. But yeah,
and in the chat, Troy mentions there that when I was making my list, I wasn't really considering it a sitcom as well, but kind of like Gray, I kind of looked up, just to see if it would fall in that category, and they consider it like a drama sitcom. So I was like, okay, if they're referring to it as a drama sitcom, I'm going to include it on my list. But because I was real close to not putting it on there for that reason, but just because I saw it fall under there, I was like, I got to include it because I loved that TV show growing up.
Bunch of blurred lines.
Well, that's what it is.
Well, it was a funny show though. There was there
was a lot of humor in it. Yeah,
Wayne, dude. When Wayne decides to move out and he has nowhere to go, and he ends up living in his car, and the brakes go out, and he starts rolling down the hill in the back seat. There's just so many good episodes of that show. Remember when people thought Marilyn Manson was Paul Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Like what? Yeah. People are like that. Oh, they're the same guy.
Wait, the brother was the brother from Back to the Future, right? The kid who says, "What's a rerun?" Right.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Jason Harvey, something like that, I believe. Yeah, great show though. Great show. My number 7 is Futurama. Futurama is a fantastic show. There's what else can you say, man? There's so many good. The 100 Cups of Coffee episode, freaking the one of the saddest episodes with the dog. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the dog one was
just Bender.
I honestly liked it more than Simpsons. I might be in a rare group.
I'll say I have Simpsons higher on my list for the impact it had, but overall, I think there's more seasons. I haven't watched The Simpsons in a long time, so I don't know. I know that people said it's gotten better again. Like there was that whole thing a couple years ago. I don't know. I haven't watched it in so long. I might do something where I actually watch every season. Might be something fun to do, even though there's like 7,000 of them. But yeah, for me, Justin Gray says Simpsons took a shit after season 12. For me, it was after season 10. Not that there wasn't funny episodes still. It was just that's when I think that's when I kind of stopped watching. But yeah, there's Futurama was just good the whole way through. And I liked when they brought it back and they had those movies that they did, the direct-to-DVD movies like Bender's Big Score. And then they brought the show back and it was still good, in my opinion. I thought there was still really good episodes. And just Zap Brannigan, the freaking snooze, everything. Like there's just so much good stuff in that show. So
when
much.
They find out, they're just like, hey.
Where they have human horn, the aphrodisiac. I just like after you think about they're solidifying it, just scrubbing along. You're like, oh my god, yeah. But yeah, that's my number 7. Gray, would you care to enlighten us on a show that lasted 4 episodes?
How dare you, sir?
I'm sorry.
I can't believe you'd say that. Nothing on my list was less than 6 episodes.
I'm sorry.
Monster. But okay, I'm going to talk about something that it came about from a 1995 short. And then this same character has been going since 95. And there is future works about to come out, actually, in April of this year. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to
April of this year.
It is. So that's any day now. So this might be a little bit low. This was the one that gave me a little bit of trouble because there's a few ups and downs in this one, but it's a Canadian mockumentary television sitcom. So it's Trailer Park Boys, man. What can I say? They consider themselves a mockumentary television sitcom. So I'm going to go ahead and consider it a sitcom, but I don't know how many seasons is that? Like 12 seasons and like 3 movies, plus weird internet presence slash
In an animated
live
show.
streams. Yeah. I forgot about the animated show. But yeah, man, what Rob Wells is able to do with the Ricky character is amazing. Like, I don't know if there's been anybody else who can pull off, like, essentially creating this whole
Ricky
character
is-
for the mockumentary thing. Ricky is amazing, man. It's not all peaches and cake, but it is damn close to it. I don't know, man. Bubbles is I love the character. Apparently he might not be in the latest season.
No, he is. He's in it.
Okay, so they did bring him back. There was
No, they filmed it before that all started. It was already filmed.
Nice. Well, I hope he gets a good goodbye if he's not along with it. But man, this has had so much impact on not only my life but Canada as a whole, and Canadian impact on America. I absolutely love me some Trailer Park Boys. When you go through like, it's pretty goddamn low on my list, but I think there's some things that affected me a little bit more. I tried not to bring the subjectivity into it. I was being objective on what subjectively, affected me here. But yeah, I love me some Trailer Park Boys. I think it's just amazing. Even every single character on there. But the other one that really stands out is John Dunsworth. Just man, Leahy is amazing. The liquor, man. Just so many. And then Randy, Pat Roach as well. Man, there's so many things about this that are just so layered. I just absolutely love this show. So yeah, that's my number 7, and I will believe you if you tell me it should be higher. If you say it should be lower, you're a liar.
I love that show. I love it. One of my favorite one of my favorite seasons is season 7 with Patrick Swayze Express. Just and they gonna ship the weed to Sebastian Bach, and or as Ricky calls them, the cigarettes.
Cigarettes. Yeah.
The fucking part, dude, where the gaming commission is like paddling down their little aquatic ATV, and he's sitting there in Canada. He's like, put that fire out, and he's like, are you Canadian? He's like, no. And he's like, hey, you got to do shit then. He's like, you're going to disturb the beaver population. He's like, are they Canadian beavers? They're just beavers. The fucking shit, dude, is so good. The amount of gunplay in that show, it's so good, dude.
Oh, and then Justin's bringing up the other what would you call that highly impactful courtroom scene that I always think of anytime I'm there. And like, if I can't smoke and swear, I'm fucked.
Dude.
I love it. Just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
All right, Warren, sir, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is Family Matters. With Urkel and the guy who played the cop from Die Hard. What was his name?
Yeah, he played the cop in Family Matters.
Yeah, he played. Yeah,
it was Reginald Bell Johnson, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I love that series. I remember very fondly growing up. That he was there with a bunch of other ones, but it was one of those ones where I feel like I've watched the whole thing all the way through. Urkel trying to get with the daughter. There was the cool when he would use the formula to turn himself into Cool Urkel. Stefan. Yep. Learning that he had he was a really awesome basketball player. And I remember when they did the MTV Celebrities versus Pros, and he was out there, and he was just like, he was really, really a talented guy that I think got very hardcore typecasted by that role. I think he's hosting a game show now, and he's done some stuff behind the scenes. Well, he voiced Sonic, and he did stuff along those lines. So.
I mean, anytime you have a show though where you're like the main star, you have a dance. you have a fucking robot.
Yeah.
Your character has an alternate personality. Like, and you're playing like 11 things in the same goddamn show, and your whole thing is like, yeah, you're typed.
Hey, you're forgetting the "did I do that" part.
Did I do that?
He parlayed it into modern day things. Now people know Purple Urkel. It's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, that was another show on TGIF. My sister religiously watched Friday TGIF because it was family entertainment. Yeah. Charles.
Was it 7?
Yes, sir.
So the way Roseanne was something relatable to me as a poor child, this next one was the last time I was financially comfortable, and I found the characters somewhat relatable as a at then point upper middle class citizen. It's Modern Family. That at the point it's the last like mainstream sitcom that I could say that I enjoyed on a regular basis.
Dude, IMDb has that ranked the number 1 of all time.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I know a lot of people loved that show, man. That was so popular the first few seasons. So popular.
I don't know if I was comfortable in life otherwise, and it was just like catnip or something, but it left an impression. It was something that I didn't miss for a while.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know. I just know Ed O'Neill's in it. The one lady with the big tits is in it.
Sofia Vergara.
Yes.
I was kind of smitten for what the hell's her name from Billy Madison?
Oh,
Happy Gilmore. Excuse me.
The Happy Gilmore. I know what you meant. Yeah, the one that ends up playing his wife in Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, barely. Yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot she's dead. As in every freaking movie that's got to have the guy raising a giant family. Because oh wait, is he an alcoholic? Yes. Is he? Did he used to be really good at something? Yes. He hit all the nails on all the heads. But yeah, she was. I can't remember her name from the show, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah, she was married to the douchebag from Dawn of the Dead 2004, which like that was the couple that I kind of like liked the most. There was like a pair for everyone. There was like the gay couple, the older couple. It was just, but they were all related.
I do remember. I what I thought was funny was the bigger gay guy. He was the football coach, and he was
Stone
like,
Street.
Dude, he was so like hardcore in the football, but like was so Tinkerbelly on the other. And it was so
stereotypically gay, right?
Yeah,
right.
They're like, the football team wanted to lose because like one of the kids on the other team died, and he's like, "You don't win if you lose. You win. You smash them into the ground." I'm like, Jesus Christ.
The thing I didn't like about the show was the kids were too smart. There were 3 kids and 4 kids, I think, and they were just a little. They had too much quality material. It's like, I'm sorry, not every child is.
Was it like the thing like in movies where like the children talk like 30-year-olds?
To a degree. It wasn't really. It wasn't believable, but it certainly was enough to take you out of it at certain points where it's like, can you just be a child, please, and not the smartest person in the room? You're fucking 7. Relax.
But I know a lot of people loved that show.
Yep.
I know a lot of people really did. It was very, very popular.
I definitely watched it like for 4 or 5 seasons straight. Where if it was on, plus having DVR made it a lot easier. It was just, it's going to tape. If there's a new one, it's going to tape.
Mm-hmm.
And watched it. Then I got divorced, and I just stopped paying attention. I don't know if there's a correlation there or what, but
no, there probably is. There probably is. Like, there's something like that. You kind of probably disassociate from a lot of things. I say that's one of the times where you're like, that's a good excuse. Can't really hold anything against that one. Can't really hold anything against that one. Bob, your number 7?
My number 7 is also Family Matters. I really liked Family Matters. It's got one of my favorite TV dads with Carlton Winslow. I think he's an excellent character. Of course, as the show went on, the focus did shift more to Steve Urkel, but I thought it was still a lot of fun. He was a fun character. I think what was kind of cool is that by the end of the show, he actually does end up with Laura. So I thought that was cool that he finally does end up with her. They did that one last season where they when they had to switch networks, and he ended up becoming like an astronaut or something like that, and ended up finally marrying Laura. So yeah, that I loved that show. But for me, the best part of the show, the part that I think stuck to me more than any of the others besides Steve Urkel, was the father. I thought Carlton Winslow was a great TV dad. So,
hold on. Let's see. Stiff Kitten is wondering if there's going to be any non-North American shows here. Probably not for me, because I don't watch much television, and if it's like past 2000 and something, I don't.
Yes, there will be.
I personally don't watch much. I've never seen the British Office. I've never even seen the American Office. So it's not something.
Oh, you should do yourself a favor and watch the British one.
I will do no such thing. I have many video games to play, but yeah, Faulty Towers. I have seen that. I loved that. I like the sign every time. It would say something different, like farty towels, something. John Cleese was great, and so was the little the maitre d guy. That guy was fantastic. But
it probably doesn't count because there's not enough seasons for you guys, right?
Not all of us. Just me.
I didn't care about how many seasons it was. It's your favorite sitcoms.
Grace is trying to dump on my head. That's all.
Yeah, he is. My number 6 is Scrubs. Love Scrubs. Love the first 8 seasons of Scrubs. Did not like that med school thing that they did. And I have one episode left to watch of the reboot. At first I didn't like it, and then there was a couple of episodes in there that I did like, but overall it's nowhere near as strong as it was. Just nowhere near as strong as it was. But there are some decent episodes in the newest ones, because it actually revolves around the main characters that you like to see. But I wish they had, they can't have Ted back, obviously, because he passed away. So yeah, there's a few things in there, but the janitor, the janitor was great in that show. My goodness, Dr. Jan Etor, so many good things in that show, man. And Bob Kelso is one of my favorite characters of all time. He's the old man who doesn't give a shit, but he's also the chief, of the hospital, the whatever they call it. And the way he treated Ted was just so bad, just so awful. And Ted being in an a cappella group that first started out only doing TV themes. I don't know. I just love that show. There's just so many funny things. It's one of the shows that's the main character wasn't the funniest guy. You know what I mean? Zach Braff isn't. I mean, he's definitely got some funny parts, but I always thought there was other people way funnier than him. And yeah, So
no talk about John C. McGinley. Come on, man.
Well, Troy McClure says not enough cocks in the revival. Well, apparently he was going to be in but he was filming some other show, and that's why he's only been in the first episode and the last couple of episodes. Apparently he was going to do the whole thing, and then I can't remember. He was in some other show at the time, but yeah. Apparently he's doing very well in the ratings too. Weird that they're talking about ratings, you know what I mean? But apparently he's doing very well. So, but yeah, the original run of 8 seasons of Scrubs is my number 6. What is yours, Gray? Is this controversial?
Yeah, so not for me, man. There's no controversy whatsoever. This is my number 6. We're on number 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I think it was Stiff Kittens was asking if there was something non-North American. Coincidentally, yes, my number 6 actually does not hail from this side of the pond, if you will. But man, so this might not count for Charles because there are 2 series of it, but there's only 14 episodes in total. But my God, what this was able to achieve and the impact of it just it goes on so far. So this is a little bit older of one for me. It aired in '99 and it was concluded by 2001. But Spaced. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's Edgar Wright's directorial kind of debut on television, and it pairs him up, Simon Pegg up with so many British actors that you'll see later on, but him and Jessica Stevenson have to pretend to be a couple in order to get a flat, and it's just a situational comedy from there. But man, you get Nick Frost, Mark Heap. There's so many just hilarious things that are going on, and the way that they're able to parody cinema and everything that's going on in it, just man, it's got so many Edgar Wright-isms, so many Simon Pegg moments that just stand out so much. If you love the Coronado trilogy, check out Spaced. It is amazing. You can see how they get there from Spaced. But man, it is the OG. To me, my number 6 favorite sitcom of all time is Spaced. What about you, Warren?
I remember
What's
you
your
told me
6?
about that show, and that's
check it out, man.
Check it out.
It's amazing.
I will.
It's only 14 episodes, so it might not count for some, but you can get through it. It's amazing.
So wait, so after this show's over, I won't count for me because I don't have to watch it then because it's only 14 episodes, or I should watch it because this is
according to
show
some,
about fake things. Okay, gotcha. I know I'm gonna watch it because you did. I remember did we talk about this on our original sitcom talk? Because I remember you telling me about this show a while ago.
It's been one of my favorites forever. Just it's what got me in love with Edgar Wright. I knew of Shaun of the Dead, but before any of the other ones, I was told check out Space. Then just man, I've been hooked on it since, and it really holds up. I thought it might be a thing of the time. Man, I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Really good
on a recent watch.
Really good anti-Phantom Menace talk prior to Plinkett ever existing. In that there was a full episode where Edgar Wright's character just kind of shits on the Phantom Menace, and that it came out around that time, so it was kind of interesting to be so ahead of the curve.
Dude, I remember the Phantom Menace. Me and the guy, my roommate at the time, we were both really big Star Wars guys. We went to see it in Pittsburgh in the Squirrel Hill Theater, and it was packed, right? Mm-hmm. People were dressed up. Like we weren't, but like people were dressed up, all sorts of stuff. And I just remember people going crazy at the beginning, right? Awesome. And then like about 20 or 30 minutes in, when there was like trade embargoes and midichlorians, and I just remember one guy just yelling out, "What the fuck is this?" and that's a bit old time big theater. Like, so there was like a couple hundred seats in there. And at the end, there was some people that were real happy, but there was a lot of disappointed people. And then the conversation we had on the ride home, he had one of those Jeeps like that you could take the top off, and we're sitting there and he was like, "So what'd you think?" I was like, "Well, it sucked about as much as I like the bugs in my mouth when I ride in your Jeep with nothing around me." It was terrible, dude. Like it was not a good theater experience. Not a good theater experience. But Warren, go ahead. What is your number 6, sir?
My number 6 is one of those sitcoms that was essentially named after the comedian was essentially just a comedian, one of those comedian sitcoms, and it was the Drew Carey Show. Had the dance number in the beginning of it. I absolutely
rocks.
Yes, I absolutely love that series. The British boss who would fire people by spinning the wheel, and
Buzz Beer.
Mimi, just all of it was absolutely. Oh yeah, Buzz Beer, and it had like most of the cast went to that improv show, and I think now Drew Carey does Price is Right, but that Drew Carey show was quite big at the time period, if I remember correctly. For at least for a couple seasons, it was really up there, and they would have every season they'd have the new dance number in the beginning of it and the whole deal.
I've seen some episodes. It just wasn't a show that I watched, and a lot of people liked it. Yeah. I mean, that's how we heard
man.
Carey.
Diedrich Bader, man, he is one of the greatest like character actors. It is a crime he wasn't in more. Rex Kwon Do for those who are super into that. But man, also Ryan Stiles from the aforementioned Whose Line Is It Anyway? Yeah. There was amazing stuff going on that. And not only that, it is one of the best television reoccurring guest roles for Joe Walsh of the Eagles fame. Man, I love me some Joe Walsh. And he played an amazing band member in Drew Carey's band in later seasons of that show. I missed that one.
Yeah, that was a good show.
And Craig Ferguson was a great boss on there also.
Charles, you're number 6.
I will use this moment to mention something that is less than 20 episodes, although it's not quite top 10 for me yet. That is Ted. It's a show that I quite enjoy so far. Just had a second season this past
It was good.
month. It's a very solid show. It's surprising that it's 10 years after the fact. But my number 6 to that point is Family Guy. Sure, it's still going today. I don't consider the last whenever the dog died, ever since then, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really watch it at all. But it, for the amount of impact that show has, it like you lapsed. I had a bunch of the DVD sets where you line up 6 or 7 on the. I used to have a 5-disc DVD changer, so I would just put all the discs from the one season, just hit play, and you could hit repeat, awesome. And wouldn't have to get up like the lazy ass that I was. And yeah, it was just something that like I enjoyed, and it was, I don't know if the subject, like the stories weren't as strong, because Family Guy wasn't really a story show, but like the references, it was like short attention span theater, and I really enjoyed some of the humor.
Didn't it get canceled like after 3 or 4 seasons?
Yes,
the first season.
I was about to say it had the best ever comeback of any, because of the DVD sales, because it got canceled, but then it got taken off the air after the 3rd season. Came back, the 4th season premiere, when Peter stands there and he names all the shows that Fox put on. Like, dude, that was one of the biggest fuck you moments. And, like, he named like Greg the Bunny, like, you know, all these like shows that were on. Like, that's pretty funny, dude. That's pretty, you know, it'd be weird just to see now, because, you know, but like, man, it was very funny.
Yeah, it's one of those
things. At
where
that time, it was pushing the envelope like crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because it was like, it came out, and, you know, Simpsons was the big running sitcom cartoon, and it was very similar in some aspects, but then it completely differentiated by how much it pushed the envelope and how far it went. And
the neighbor was in a wheelchair, and man, they pushed the edge quite a bit there every time they went. Like, holy shit.
Parrot, and the first thing Peter does is like, cribble, 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 cribble. Until he gets the parrot to say it.
Yeah, like if you take away Family Guy, like I don't think we realize just how much it's had an impact on us. If only the memes, but yeah, it's important to me. Whatever. But Ted, couple more seasons. If Ted keeps up what they're doing right now, it'll probably crack my top 10.
Bob, 6. You're muted, Bob. You pulled a gray, Bob.
Turning into gray, I know. Anyway, it didn't make my list, but I also love Family Guy as well. Just want to throw it out there that I really like the Star Wars parodies that they did.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
Something dark side.
Hilarious.
Blue Harvest.
But my number 6 is Roseanne, and there's not really a whole lot more I can say about it because we already talked about it. But yeah, there's a lot that's relatable to it. But the one thing that I thought really stood out was the chemistry between John Goodman and Roseanne. I thought they were both extremely good together. And there's just so many episodes in there that again, you can really relate to. It had great writing. So that one's my number 6. I did like the revival series that they did. I did not watch the Connors when they wrote Roseanne off the show. But I did like that initial revival they were doing, because they kind of ignored that last season where Dad died, and he wakes up and she's like, "Oh, did you have that dream where you died again or whatever?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Just go back to sleep." And they just continued the show as if that never had happened. And I think it sucked that they wrote her off, but it's also a testament to the characters, how well that they were written, that even without her, they could go on another 7 or 8 season run, whatever it was, without her. So yeah, it's the characters themselves were so well written. So Roseanne is my number 6.
My number 5 is The Simpsons. And I mean, what can you not say about The Simpsons? The Simpsons,
it's still on.
The fact that it started from the Tracy Ullman show, and they looked so weird, back then. Even like the first season dealt a lot with like regular problems. You know what I mean? They had like Bart steals, stuff like that, or like, I think it might have been the second season or something, like Bart gets an F, like where it's one of those episodes where it's like, he really tried. Like, he's like, "No, you don't get it. I tried this time. Like, I actually tried." And him thinking like that he could be stupid, like he's not, like, this could be his future of just being a dumbass, and seeing Homer and what he is, and realizing that he might be destined to just repeat his father's mistakes and be a dumbass. Like, I thought those were really good. But then it got into like when they got Conan and a bunch of the other writers, and it started with like season 3 started having some funny shit with like Mr. Burns and the softball team. I thought was hilarious with Mattingly. "I told you to shave those sideburns." And he's like, literally has like shaved hair all the way up there. He's like, "I don't even know what the hell this is." And
Monorail, yeah.
The Monorail was season 4. That's when it started.
I thought that was 3. My bad.
No, it's 4. That's when I think season 4 is where it started getting like zany and wacky. And that's when it started getting really good. Like there's a couple of things like the Treehouse of Horror, which people love, and the first few, were really, really fun to watch. And then it just got stupid, where it was just like parodying whatever was like popular right at that point in time. You knew like that your show's over whenever like your intro to the show is like a Kesha song, like, fuck, dude. Like, what are we doing here? And maybe it's not for me anymore, but man, those first from season 3 to like 10 was like gold, in my opinion. And there's just so many things that could be. It's one of the most quotable shows in history. I mean, my answering machine when me and he became my brother-in-law, but my ex-brother-in-law, we were roommates. We did the whole like beekeeper routine where it was like you nip the sugar when you let your guard down. He's like, "Bees usually make a lot of noise. No noise suggests no bees. To the bee-mobile." "You mean your Chevy?" "Yes." Like, there's just so many good episodes, man. Like, just I mean, it was just a timeless show. And when it first started, when George Bush said we need to be more like the Waltons and less like the Simpsons, that was it, dude. People were like, "Oh, really? We hate you, so let's watch this." And it was, man, that show was so popular.
That George Bush episode too, though.
Oh, it's so good, dude. So good. It was like Dennis the Menace, but like Bart and George Bush.
I had remember when they came out with the music album where the characters are singing like parodies of the different songs and stuff along those lines? Yes. That was,
He's like, when George Bush spanks Bart, and he's like, "He spanked you? Bart Simpson, you?" Or Homer, he's like thinking of losing his family, and he's like, "Oh, Marge, Bart, girl Bart, and the rest." And it was like Maggie, the dog, the cat, and beer. Like, and the rest. Like, there's just so many good things about that show, man.
Oh, boy.
Oh my goodness. But yeah,
I remember that episode where he was attracted to that coworker,
Mhm.
and
Think on sexy thoughts.
and he kept trying to avoid her, and they end up going on that out to that
That
Chinese
retreat, yeah.
restaurant together. And he gets the fortune cookie, and he opens it up, and it says, "You will find happiness with a new love." And he's just like, you know. And then they show down in the cellar, and they're like, "Oh well, we're out of the cookies that say you'll find happiness with a new love." And you hear the manager like, open up the barrel that says "stick with your wife."
Yeah. Or whenever she's like, "What's wrong, Homer?" He's like, "Oh, we're gonna have sex," and he's like, "Well, we don't have to." He's like, "The cookie
Look,
said."
you told me. Yeah. Or do you remember that episode where the Bart had like that big brother, and then so Homer got jealous and went out and got a little brother, and they were each bad mouthing each other to the other one that they had, and then they end up bumping into each other like at that amusement park or whatever.
Mhm.
And the big brother's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm the boy's father." "Oh, you mean the drunken deadbeat?" He's like, "Yeah, that's me."
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. But Gray, you're number 5, sir.
Fair enough. As long as we're talking Simpsons stuff, since I wanted it
enough.
on my list, didn't quite make it. Man, the pepper, what was Insanity Pepper episode?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
dude, the
so
chili
amazing.
cook-off.
The Vision Quest. Yeah, it's
Find
great.
your soulmate, Homer.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So The Simpsons didn't quite make my list, but in spirit they did a few different times. But yeah, I hope this one will pass Charles's test. It did have a total of 6 seasons, 120 episodes. It was aired. However, only 2 seasons were ever put to like DVD, and it is somewhat lost. I've heard as of recent you could kind of get it, but yeah. So Marta Kaufman and David Crane, who you probably know from all over TV. Their biggest one is kind of Friends, but they also did like Veronica's Closet. They've gone on to do like Netflix series Frank and Gracie. Well, they did this other one that's a little less known, but man, so I came to it way late. I didn't have cable as a kid, so I discovered it way later on.
Sounds like you didn't have regular
DVDs.
television either.
I don't know, man. It was my babysitter. We had the regular channels. I had the rabbit ears. Yeah. They all affected me. I've seen them all, but I have seen sitcoms perfected, and that's why my list looks the way it does. But if you could have kind of my childhood, that being sat in front of the TV, and that's what raised me, and then that's why every social interaction I have, suddenly, like in my head, it cuts to like different sitcom moments. You get this weird HBO show called Dream On. It's this weird adult sitcom, and man, it was kind of the first time I saw kind of what feels like a sitcom version of my life, kind of like brought out. It very similar to the way that I was kind of raised in this thing, but man, I absolutely love it. And I don't know how. So it stars Brian Ben. I don't know how that dude isn't like a huge star. He was just amazing in this role, and like that's it. He was in a couple of other little bit parts, but man, I don't know. I would have thought that this dude was going to be like a star. Like even David Schwimmer went on to way more. But yeah,
I
sadly,
sold
he
a
did.
TV to his blonde secretary. She
Nice.
was in Best Buy when I worked there, and I was like, "Hey, I know you from something." And
well, she was an awesome character. But it also had Wendy Malick, which I love her in Just Shoot Me, but man, there's something to the role of his ex-wife in this one, who is married to Dr. Richard Stone, who is the most perfect man ever created. It is an amazing show that just it impacted me in so many different ways. Michael McKean, from like Spinal Tap fame and a whole bunch of other things. He just happens to be the boss like the last 4 seasons. There's so many amazing things about this show, but it was an adult HBO version of a sitcom. And man, it kind of paved the way for a lot of these other ones that to kind of come up. But yeah, Dream On. I absolutely dig it. It's weird because it is kind of those real sitcom values meets HBO in a weird way, because it is that Marta Kaufman, David Crane thing. They are known for like super sitcom things, Friends, Veronica's Closet. But man, they just knocked it out of the park for me with this one. Everyone talks about Friends, but man, Dream On. It hits so much harder for me. So yeah, try and find it. I bet you won't be able to.
Good Lord. No, I'm joking. Warren, you're number 5.
It's hard to follow Gray because he has these beautiful like
I got touched.
And
that's the only time I will ever accept that apparent sentence you just said.
Yeah,
Gray is beautiful sentences,
beautiful intros, and it's so well thought out.
You watch yourself.
My number 5 is the only non-North American show on my list, and it's one I discovered during COVID, and it has one of my favorite actors in it, and that's the Matt Berry's show Toast of London. And I absolutely love that show. It is hilarious. I think there's only 3 seasons so far. I know he does throughout like Who We Are from the Shadows, and he's got some other stuff going on. But Toast of London is Matt Berry at his absolute finest. It's super, super funny, and he's this like a stage actor, and it's just pure Matt Berry. Have you ever seen him, how he does his pacing along those lines? IT Guys is another great one, but Matt Berry's Toast of London is just really good. If you get a chance to watch it, I believe all 3 seasons are on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure if they still are, but they used to be during COVID. So, but that one is a great, great, great show for British comedies.
Charles?
So the chat is making me feel uneasy about this. The other end of Gray's coin there. I started watching it as a teen, a pubescent teen, watching it for very different reasons, and stuck around because, I don't know, the pretty girls were actually saying funny things, and that is Friends. I am the one that quite enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I started watching for very, very uncomedy related reasons, but
Friends is a good show. People just don't admit that they like it. It's like you can't average 30 and 40 million people and people just be like, I hate that show, yet they come back and see
everyone hates it, but like 30 million people watch it.
Well, I can get it. Like the what's that show with the nerds that like everyone watches?
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
With Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, but people just don't admit that they like it.
Right.
That's the thing. They do like it. They just don't admit it. I don't care what people think. I like Friends.
I dig Friends. It's more prior to Ross and Rachel having their break. Like when everyone started dating each other, it was just like, all right, you're out of ideas, aren't you? But the first 4 or 5 seasons, I quite enjoyed quite a bit. And yeah, very pretty girls. That's what got me in. And,
not a bad reason to jump in.
I'd love to jump into those girls.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a show, that I like it. It's not in my top 10 of shows, but dude, I definitely like the show.
Again,
I don't give a shit.
Young teenager. It must have been freezing in that television studio because Jennifer Aniston never wore a sweater, and I just knew it was cold a lot. That's all I'll say.
I mean, dude, the episode where Joey's gonna be the game show host, and he's doing the show with Chandler and Ross, and it's like the Wicked Wango card and the freaking the monkey noise, dude. That shit's funny. Or when Chandler tries to give when he moves out and he tries to give Joey money, but he won't take it. So he's like, "You want to do a little bit of gambling? How about we play cups?" And he makes up the fucking card game. And then like later Joey leaves and he's like, so how you feel? He's like, I just lost the $1,000 to Ross playing cups. He's like, you lost in cups? How did you look like, I don't know. That's funny. All right. whatever.
Could it be funnier?
I mean, it could be funnier.
Pivot.
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 Yeah, like I mean, you know, some people. It's one of those things. It's like you either like the show or you don't. Who cares? It's television. Doesn't like me. People are very concerned about like what they like and it being really cool. Like I don't know. I stopped giving a shit about that at like age like 12 because I realized I wasn't cool. So then I was like, oh, you don't like comic books and Star Trek? No, you don't? Oh, you guys like girls. Oh, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. So, Bob.
Well, I guess we're continuing the Friends discussion because I got Friends at number 5.
Yay!
I really like Friends. You know what? I think it's hilarious. I think the guys have great chemistry together. The girls are actually very funny as well. Phoebe's hilarious. Yeah. I think it's a great show. One of my favorite episodes is when they were having the game against each other to where they end up
for the apartment. Yeah.
Yes. I think that's a hilarious episode where they're trying to figure out who knows who more than the other. I think that's a good one. The episode where Ross buys the leather pants, I think is great. So yeah, or the one episode, I don't know if you guys remember it, but the one where Ross goes, he starts dating this new girl and he goes over to her place and it's like an absolute dump. And he doesn't want to have sex with her. So
she's like super hot.
Yeah, so he goes to get encouragement from Joey, and Joey's like, "You go over there and you have sex with that pig," you know. And next thing you know, there's like a rat running around, and he goes to kill it. And it's like her pet rat.
No, she's like, oh, her gerbil was loose, and then she's like,
"That's what it was."
Don't worry, it wasn't the gerbil; it was just this dead rat.
Oh yes, that's what it was.
Yeah. Oh,
so yeah, there were a lot of good episodes with Friends. I can still watch some of those episodes and laugh today. So Friends is my number 5.
All right,
I agree.
So my number 4. Come on, list. My number 4 is Cheers. So Cheers to me is a show for me that I can watch at any time, and I've just seen it so many times, and it's one of those shows that's like, I guess you call it comfort show, I guess, because it's just I can just turn it on. I have the DVDs and I can just turn it on, and I love each iteration. Like the only character I really didn't care for was Diane. Like she was just very annoying to me, but I understood
Shelley stayed too long.
Yeah, the Waka 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 Fozzie Bear, everybody.
Are you a Coach man or a Woody man?
I like Coach, but I like Woody as well. I think they're both great at what they do. But Coach had so many good one-liners, just so many good ones, and he just
his way of playing dumb, man.
Yes, Ernie Pantuso was phenomenal character, and so apparently, like he was really sick the last 2 seasons of the show that he was in, and he didn't tell anybody. And then Ted Danson saw him. I think he was like adjusting his big toupee or some shit off the side, and saw him like wheezing and coughing up stuff, and like realized like, oh shit, like he's not going to be around here much longer. And they had that dedication episode to him, and it was cool because it like when Woody came along, it revitalized that aspect of the bar, right? Because Sam behind the bar is one thing, but Woody being the main bartender, the interactions between the people became better because, you know, obviously he's just doesn't understand what the hell's happening. And dude, when he wrote the song for his girlfriend Kelly, who was the multimillionaire family, and the words were just Kelly, 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 Kelly. I don't know, that gets me every single time. And just Cliff Clavin is one of the funniest characters to me. He has an answer for everything. just an answer for everything. And there was that episode where he finally finds a woman, and it's at one of the Halloween party. They have a masquerade party, and like he ends up falling in love, but doesn't, like, he tries to go for it. I can't remember if it works out or doesn't work out, but like just the banter between Carla and Cliff was just phenomenal. Like Rhea Perlman was hilarious. And I don't know. I love that show. I think it's great. It's one of those ones that I actually got to watch a lot of the full run of it while it was airing. And I don't remember like the first couple of seasons because I was like 5 and 6 years old, you know. But man, that last episode of Cheers, I remember them like what's his name? Bob Costas doing like an hour before. And then after the show, they were on like the Tonight Show or whatever, and the cast was so drunk. Like they were so fucking hammered. And I know it, like the TV people were none so happy with them. That was on the box set, that they were like so fucking hammered. But that is my number 4. Gray, your number 4?
Yeah. So my number 4 is an interesting one. I think it would fit most of your criteria. It has 5 seasons. Sadly, it didn't quite get to syndication. It has 97 episodes. Apparently, you need 100 to truly get there. I do consider this to be one of the Jackie Browns of sitcoms. What can I say? So the executive producer of this one, he happened to be one of the main writers of Late Night with David Letterman. From there, he went to be the writer EP of the Larry Sanders Show. Right after this show, he then became the writer, consulting producer, and director of Flight of the Conchords. There he moved on to Bored to Death, Boardwalk Empire, Atlanta, What We Do in the Shadows. Man, so I'm talking Paul Simms, and this dude doesn't get nearly enough credit, but what he was able to create and like the actual characters that he was able to come up with. So my number 4 is News Radio, the aforementioned News Radio. But my God, this show, it worked so well, and it really shouldn't have. But everyone, top to bottom, including both Joe Rogan and Andy Dick, just sing as these characters. Apparently, originally, Ray Romano was cast as the Joe character, and it just did not work. So they had to get rid of him. And then they brought in Joe Rogan as like a last-minute replacement to play the Joe character. Man, so we've given credit to Phil Hartman and Andy Dick and Joe Rogan, but the main star of this, Dave Foley, who previously I'd only seen in like Kids in the Hall, but man, he is so amazing as the Dave character. He brings this weird, grounded, like kind of center to all this wacky shenanigans that are going on all
very
around.
quirky character, yeah.
He is. And then Morna Tierney, just, I love me some Morna Tierney. And this is kind of her at the best. And then I don't know why everyone remembers Kathy Griffin. Instead, they should remember Vicki Lewis. She is the better version of Kathy Griffin in every single way. Everyone on this was amazing. And Candy Alexander, too. The depths that she was able to go with her character. I wish they were able to kind of write for her character more. She's kind of the one actor who didn't really get a sing in this as much as everybody else. And then you mentioned when Phil Hartman, unfortunately, was taken from us. But you didn't mention John Lovitz when he came in.
I did mention John Lovitz. Yes, I did.
Okay, I think he deserves a little bit more.
I said I didn't think the show was as good, but John Lovitz was a very good replacement. Like, he did a very good job with what
Ray was busy.
I don't know if there's anyone that could replace.
Oh.
I was thinking about it. I was just thinking there's so much left unsaid about this. We need to talk about Paul Simms. No, John Lovitz did an admirable job of trying to replace it, but man, there's no way. There's no way you could replace, even with somebody like Jay Sherman, the power that is Phil Hartman. But this show, it got so screwed by the network. So the first season was on Tuesdays.
Yep.
Tuesdays. The second season, it premiered on Tuesdays, and then all of a sudden, episodes 11 through 21 got moved to Sunday. The next season they come back, they put it on Wednesday for about 17 episodes. And all of a sudden they move it to Thursday for a chunk in between those. And then they moved it back to Wednesday. And then they changed the time slot on Wednesday. And then the next season they brought it in on Tuesday. And then after about 8 episodes, moved it to Thursday, then moved it back to Tuesday, then to Wednesday. Then the next season they did Wednesday and then Tuesday. Yes, man. It is the one thing that fucked over this show. I think news radio would be a huge staple if it literally didn't change the air date like every 10 weeks. It really sucks. This show deserved so much more, man. But I wish it had at least gotten into syndication. Unfortunately, it only got 97 episodes, and apparently back then
really
you needed
close.
100.
Yep.
It sucks, man. So I wish news radio was a little bit more known. Those who have seen it, you get it. It's awesome, man. And the only other thing that we didn't talk about is each season they did these weird fantasy episodes that were just so amazing. One of them, they turned The Office into Titanic. One of them was a space episode. So good. I absolutely love news radio. And the weirdest opening song ever. News. Yeah, they work at the space news.
So
Everything is just space. It was great. But Mike Post created like the weirdest theme song that is like maximal. It shouldn't work, but somehow it does. It is something that you cannot like hum. It is the weirdest theme, but at the same time, it is one of the most iconic ones. So yeah, news radio, number 4 for me. Say, Warren, what you got at 4, sir?
My number 4 was mentioned earlier, and it was a show that's kind of like how Laps explained Cheers. It was kind of like a comfort food that I could watch right now, and it was Night Court. In my house, we didn't miss it. My grandparents loved it, and it was one of my favorite of those late night kind of sitcom shows. There was one other one that was on during that time that I really do love. It's a little bit higher on the list, but Night Court was it's just hard. I like Mel Torme. His fascinations, I believe, was Mel Torme. Harry's was the way the bowl. I absolutely love that one. I have such fond memories of watching it with my grandparents back in the day. And it's another one of those ones that they tried to reboot, and it just didn't. I don't know. I watched one episode of it, and it had the girl with the annoying voice from Big Bang Theory playing Harry's daughter, I believe. It just didn't seem to work. It didn't work for me as well. But I don't know if you can recapture that magic, no matter how hard they try. We're in a different era of TV now, and it seems like you have to go more extreme, kind of like with the Ted humor, to get really noticed. I don't think you can recapture that kind of 90s, 80s humor today and make it work. But yeah, I absolutely adored Night Court. It's one of my fond memories of my childhood was watching Night Court with my grandparents. It was like religious, like, oh, it's time. I think like 7:00, it's time to watch Night Court on one of my grandparents' 5 channels that they had.
Yep. Charles.
I'm going to keep going with the mainstream boring stuff. Number 4 for me is the American adaptation of The Office. Solid show. Another thing that for at least 6 seasons. I mean, it got a little. The tires were a little bald there at the end, but the show was really, really strong, really solid, very quotable for most of its run. And if you've ever sent a meme or an animated GIF, depending on how you pronounce it, chances are you've received something from this iconic show. And yes, I'm fully aware that the British show is equally as funny. Not quite as long, less than 2 seasons, less than 20 episodes total. Not part of my criteria, but I still watch episodes today. I quite enjoy The Office for many reasons.
The Office is amazing. It's funny. If you watch the British first episode and you watch the first episode of
the Jello thing, yeah,
it is almost identical. Like Michael Scott's played differently by Steve Carell. Like here's a different kind of motion, but the plot line, it's almost like they just took the British script and they made a few alterations and brought it over.
Yeah, it's interesting because Ricky Gervais is just kind of Ricky Gervais in The Office. So it was interesting seeing his character, well, the boss character be a little bit sillier.
Bob?
That's my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is Everybody Loves Raymond.
No, I don't.
Great.
Again, that's another show that I love. Watching the sibling rivalry between him and Robert, trying to get the affection of their mother, I think is hilarious. And then that always puts him at odds with his own wife because she's got problems with the mother, and the parents are always around. And watching the relationship between the Raymond's father and mother is just hilarious. Again, like Friends, this is one that I can just sit down and I can laugh at multiple episodes just at any time. Even though I've seen almost all of them many times, I can still laugh at them. So yeah, I got that one as my number 4.
I never really watched it, so I don't know enough about it. Just Ray Romano was not a person on my radar at that time. So that's cool. I mean, that's the great thing, man. Everybody likes different stuff. So like, that's not one that I would have even thought of. So like, that's awesome. That's actually pretty cool. So my number 3 is Trailer Park Boys. And I love that show. Like I can watch any season of that show besides I love the jail seasons, but any season of the first 12 and just leave it on, and it doesn't matter where it picks up. It's just, dude, so good. The freaking Ricky, when Orangey died and Bubbles like had to tell him that he wasn't really dead, and the thermodynamics and the time space continuum, and that whole explanation is just fucking hilarious. And Jim Leahy is one of, I think, the best characters ever. Like, I just think he's one of the greatest characters ever. And man, that show is so good. It shouldn't work, but it does. And I don't know. There's just something about it that I just love. I just think it's just, I don't know. It's just something like they're all fighting for a trailer park.
It's amazing. Like every season, they come up with some crazy idea to become rich, and then it's just all of this crazy shit happens. Like, what was it? Like stealing quarters out of what was it? It was they were stealing quarters one season, and I remember Ricky had like this black tar type kind of weed stuff, and he paved his driveway with it because he had to hide it. So he essentially just like paved his driveway with it. And they had the bar in that one, and they tried to do a car auto shop. And yeah, it's just amazing.
Plus J-Rock, dude, and
the
rock pile, like J-Rock. Every time, dude, someone brings up Europe, I always go, "We got this from Europe." Like,
he plays an Amish guy on that other Canadian show. What the fuck is it called? It's got like the Farm Boys, and I forgot what it was, but yeah, that guy who plays J-Rock is really, really good actor. He's actually really funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I love that show. I love it. It's great stuff. Great stuff. But yeah, Gray.
So I totally respect having that one at 3. Perhaps it is a little low on my list. I would totally take that. There's one show that it shares almost that kind of, I guess, if you want to be like hoity-toity about it, that like comedy verite thing. I guess The Office kind of has that too, where it's got this kind of mockumentary thing, but kind of not. And there's one show that I think can compete with the characters on Trailer Park Boys. Just every one of the actors is like knocking it out of the park on this. So for me, that's Arrested Development. It's a little bit more traditional, but at the same time, man, it's so off kilter. But Jason Bateman basically playing like the straight man, but he's in on the joke, but he's doing the mugging for the camera, but still it's interesting. But then you've got just the wacky family, which every single person is a cartoon character. It's possibly the best role that Portia de Rossi has ever played, and possibly the only one that's ever worked for me. But man, once you get into everybody else, Will Arnett is just amazing. Job is just this amazing, I don't know, comedic powerhouse. And then him being followed up by Tony Hale as, the other brother, just Buster. It just, man,
Dolphin bit my arm off.
I dig what everybody is able to do in this. But the parents, Jeffrey Tambor and Jessica Walter, just, man, so perfect. And there's so many lines from this that I still, every time I hear no touching, like it automatically takes me back to this. Anytime I hear anyone talking about Blue, it goes to David Cross as Tobias, which Tobias Funke is just amazing. It introduced me to Michael Cera, and I think this is like the perfect version of a character that Michael Cera should play. I absolutely love Scott Pilgrim, but I think he's more of a George Michael.
He is George Michael.
Everybody that's in this one, even Leah Swakat is kind of perfect as maybe. And I gotta be honest, every time I hear the name Anne now, I just start thinking like, don't be an Anne hog. It's weird. We also have this restaurant near me that the name is very close to Anne Hogg. This show comes up way more in my mind than it really should. I hear what everyone's saying about the 2 Netflix seasons not being great. They're not. They're not on par with everything else that this show is able to do. But I kind of respect what they were trying to do. I don't think it was successful by any means, but I've seen quite a few things that they've brought back that were worse. I think it gets some hate. But yeah, if I had my druthers, they would not be included. But I'm willing to include them on this. They're not perfect seasons, but they're not the worst kind of comeback that there ever was.
Gray's got druthers, everyone. And they're here.
I do.
They're here right now.
If I can have my druthers. But yeah, there's always money in the banana stand. It comes up way too much. And then the whole Never Nude thing. Just, yeah, I absolutely love everything about that show. I will put up with the last 2 seasons to get the amazingness that was those original run. So yeah, that's my number 3. What you got at 3, Warren?
My number 3 is a nostalgia pick for me. I don't even know if it really deserves to be this high when it comes to like if I was being like was an objective with its quality, but it's one that I watched almost, I believe, all the way through it. I'm not 100% sure. It was on the USA Network, and me and my mom never missed an episode, and that was Wings. It had Tim Daly in
that
it.
Was on NBC as well.
Oh, was that on NBC? When I was watching it was on USA, so I'm not sure if we were watching reruns or what the deal was.
Yeah. It was they had Tim Daly and his brother Brian, and then it had what's his name? The guy
who played Monk.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub, man.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah. And Hayden, what's this?
Hayden something.
Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah, Thomas Hayden Church. That show I absolutely it gave me a lot of like Night Court vibes on some levels. I don't know if it was just but I just absolutely love that show. And I remember watching it just like the point where Tim Daly's character finally proposes and gets with the girl who was in the lunch stand when they brought in the sister character that his brother fell in love with, the guy behind the counter of the rival airplane company. I absolutely love that show. That was something that me and my mom watched almost religiously on USA. And
the rival airplane was done by Roy.
Yep.
Roy. Great show. I loved it.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely. I love that show.
Charles?
I'm sorry. What do we got? 3, right?
3.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Still going. Animated. It's Rick and Morty. For I don't know. It's the one thing that I like stick with. I guess.
I love it.
That's still going. It's the only current thing that I like actively watch, even though it's had ups and downs. When it's great, it's phenomenal.
Dude.
Oh
Dude,
yeah,
the fucking Parasite episode is one of my favorite episodes of television. Period. I love it so much. Just Sleepy Gary, dude. Sleepy Gary. It like you look at every character in that whole thing.
I have it on my wall. All the
Sleepy Gary character makes no sense because, like, yeah, he's trying to get out, right? But he's really not. He's trying to get with Jerry. And there's actually a comic book series about Sleepy Gary. That's how much. But like, he's like, whenever they're trying to get Rick to remember the barbecue, and he's like, Hammer Eye, and he's like, oh, Rick, you remember the barbecue? and Sylvester, like, dude, so Ghost in a Jar, like, it was a photography raptor. It's so funny, like the whole like evil Morty plot that was never supposed to be a plot, you know, like, and they finally paid that off. The Galactic Federation, that whole third season opener is one of the best episodes, man. It's just so good.
When Morty discovers the squirrels and have to leave the reality. You never fuck with the squirrels, Morty. Oh, you ruined me, Morty.
Well, the fact that like we're the only real people that are there from it is Rick and Morty, because if you remember, they ruined the original.
There's dead ones in the backyard. Yeah.
Like, and they go back to the original thing, and like Jerry is like a freaking crazed, like freaking Tarzan of a man. Because what did they call them? They were like they messed up. They were like blobs of humans that they melded together, and like they had to leave. And it's freaking hilarious, dude. Like some of that show is just so good, so good.
He turns himself into a pickle to avoid family therapy.
Yeah, when it's good, it's spectacular. It misses, but it's phenomenal when it's
Mr.
good.
Poopy Butthole.
The Meeseeks, that is my favorite episode.
Oh, Meeseeks episode,
brilliant.
Is so good.
I have a Kirkland brand Meeseeks upstairs.
That's awesome.
He's like, what do you want?
Yeah. Existence is pain,
Jerry.
So that show's great, man.
Strokes off of his golf game. What a stupid thing to get help for.
Like it's great, dude. Like it's phenomenal. I love that show. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I love it. I think it's great. Great
Has
show.
it been? I haven't watched it since they kicked off the.
It's
seven is odd. 8 is actually 7 is odd, and it's like, oh, no more Justin Roiland. They're in trouble. But 8 is pretty solid. There's a handful of episodes in 8 that I really enjoyed.
I liked both, so I'm not a good barometer. I liked both seasons.
I feel like there's a good season of bad, or not, a good season and mess season, and 8 was really solid.
Yep. 8, I thought 8 was great.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought 7 was like finding their footing again. But they had some really good episodes in 7. But yeah,
I might need to rewatch it again.
That's it. But I know what you're saying. Overall, as a season, because they're so short, you know, it wasn't as good as the other ones. I still thought there was some good stuff. So
I feel like the stuff that if I'm going back to it, it's seasons 1 and 3, and believe it or not, the pickle episode isn't in my top 5 to go back to. There's
Pickle Rick isn't. It's funny, but it's not as funny.
It's I'm a hipster about it, where like everyone else is like, oh my god. I'm like, yeah, there's other ones that are good too, though.
Yeah. I think my favorite season is season 2. Just Interdimensional Cable 2 is great. The whole too many Jan Michael Vincents. This January, it's time to Michael down your Vincent.
I love the episode where Rick has like the fake acid vat and Morty makes fun of him.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and then prestiges him. And he's so, you prestige Morty. You killed all those Mortys.
Yeah, the vat of acid episode. Yeah, that's great, man. There's so many good ones, dude. There's so many good ones. Then Steely, this is mine. This is mine. This is mine. And it's just the thing that steals things from other people. It's just so fucking stupid, man. And a lot of that was improv, which is great.
Most of it was, yeah.
Yeah, so great. So funny. But Bob, you're number 3.
I've got the Cosby Show at number 3. Despite everything that happened with its lead actor down the line.
What happened with him? What do you mean?
Yeah,
what did he do?
The show itself is fantastic.
What did he do?
What did Malcolm Jamal Warner
I'm just tired all of a sudden. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't really want to go into that, so we can stay on YouTube. The show itself, though, is fantastic. I think it's extremely well written. All of the actors have great chemistry with each other. Bill Cosby has great chemistry with Felicia Rashad. All of the kids are great. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Keisha Knight Pullman, all of them are great. It's just some of the stuff that they do in the show and the the situations and the way they write it, I think is just hilarious. Like it right from the first episode, it lets you know the show's going to be a little bit different. Like where they get to that scene where Theo is telling his dad he wants to be just a regular person. He doesn't want to be, a doctor or a lawyer or any of that. And so, he gives this whole speech about how, Dad, why can't you just love me for me? Not because I'm special like you, but love me for me just because I'm your son. And the audience starts clapping and everything because he gives this great speech. And Cosby's like, Theo, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, man. No wonder you get D's in school. And right off the bat there, it lets you know the way the writing is going to be. It's going to be a little bit different. And I think it's a great show.
Kids get the brain damage from the rap music.
Yeah, some of the stuff they do. Like, remember the episode where the daughter had snuck out to go see a band in Baltimore, and when they get home, they keep asking her questions, and every time she goes to answer, the mother's like, "Shut up! Don't you speak to me unless I ask you a question." She's like. I mean, it's just hilarious the way that the show's written. I love the Cosby Show. Again, controversies aside, because it's hard to go back and rewatch this now because of it. But the show itself is still good.
I think to me, I don't know, man. I guess I'm just a very cold person because I for some reason I don't let stuff like that bother my experience of watching shows. I'm a horrible person. I'm like,
I know what you mean. You're separating the art from the artist. And I'm one that does that as well. But one of the reasons why I say it's hard to go back and watch it is they don't show it anywhere because of
That's
that.
Very true.
It's very hard to find it now. And every episode that I do watch still, if I do happen to catch it somewhere, I'm still laughing at it. I mean, like I said, it's a great show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it was one of the most popular shows of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. My number 2 is MASH. MASH for me is one of my favorite shows of all time. I actually just rewatched it not that long ago. That's sad. That's very sad. But I love the 3 iterations of MASH.
I was gonna say, which one's your favorite?
There's the Henry Blake iteration. And then there's the Colonel Potter iteration. And then there's the Frank Burns. And then the Charles Emerson Winchester, the third. And then there's the Trapper and BJ Honeycutt. My favorite iteration of the show is probably season 4 and on, when Potter comes on, like his first seasons and on, like 4, 5, 6, and 7. And because that's when I think like the cast as a whole, it's like they already had a big thing whenever Trapper left, right? That was big. But when Henry Blake left, at the time, like I wasn't around, but at the time, apparently McLean Stevenson was so popular, and he had talked about this, that like people were telling him like, you could have your own show, like you're so popular. But what he didn't realize, and he said this himself, he was like, people didn't like McLean Stevenson, they liked Henry Blake. That's who they liked. So whenever he left, and the way that they wrote him out of him, dying, getting his plane getting shot over the Sea of Japan, in that very famous scene, apparently none of the actors knew. The only one that did was Alan Alda, and they had them stay for an extra scene that they filmed in the surgery rooms. They didn't know, they didn't even have an inkling that would be it. So the reactions that you got were genuine. And I mean, yeah, it got preachy. There was very preachy episodes, but like the funny episodes were funny all the way. And if you don't like very short one-liner humor, well, I'm sorry, Troy McClure. He says, as an aside, fuck MASH and Star Trek too. Those felt like punishment as a kid. Well, I mean,
it's because you didn't watch it enough. If you watched it enough, then you learned to enjoy it. It was great.
I love Star Trek: The Next Generation. I think Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek, but that's just me. But MASH is just one of those shows to me that I just love. I think everything works in the show, and yeah, that's it. Number 2, Gray. You're number 2.
I can definitely see that. I guess I'd have to go Potter, Honeycutt, Charles, man, myself. I like the latter part of it. They got real goofy, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But my number 2, so it's related to something that's been brought up before, but I think there's just like a slightly more grounded, slightly better version of this. So I think this one's going to match everybody's list or meet their criteria, since there's 14 seasons of it. There's 269 episodes. It got into syndication. It was playing all the time, but this had kind of the opposite thing that news radio had. It had consistency, and they put it in a really good time slot. So it just kind of took off from the beginning. But King of the Hill, the American animated sitcom from Mike Judge. Man, I think that's my number 2. Just when you look at I'm positive, but I was gonna soft shoe into it, but all right, I was gonna build a case and then triumphantly say it was number 2. But yeah, when you think of just the guest stars alone, you got Brad Pitt, Tom Petty, Alan Rickman, Meryl Streep, Ben Stiller, Matthew McConaughey, Michael Keaton, Jennifer Aniston, Johnny Depp, Lucy Liu, Governor Ann Richards, Chuck Mangione. Man, just name on top of name, but that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. Just the stars of it alone. Mike Judge, Hank Hill, just that is one of the most iconic voices. And it went from this Beavis and Butthead character to, man, it is this fully fleshed out character that I truly believe that there is an assless man out there who is that obsessed with propane and propane accessories. But not just Mike Judge. Then you get Kathy and Jimmy. I absolutely the boy ain't right. Whoa. I love me some Mike Judge, man. But yeah, Kathy Najiminy. Yes, she's amazing in Hocus Pocus, but man, as Peggy Hill, it is the most iconic character, and there is not a damn time where I don't see pasta noodles and think spaghetti and meatballs. I don't know why, but it has to be spaghetti. Anytime I see anybody with sloppy joes or a commercial for it or whatever, all I think is the line like, all sloppy, no Joe. There is just so much.
You want them extra sloppy? That's all I think about.
There's just so many amazing things from this. But man, so Brittany Murphy as Luann is just amazing. I miss me some Brittany Murphy, but Pamela Adlon as Bobby Hill. Not only is she amazing in every role I've ever seen her as, but my God, Bobby Hill feels like a real ass character. And then when you get into kind of the crazier ones,
yeah,
a real ass character. I don't want to say a real boy because she's not a boy. Come on, man. It's a
boy.
real ass character. But Johnny Harwick, Dale Gribble is so amazing. Stephen Root as making my list twice. Not only is he Jimmy James in the other one, but hey, we also get him as Mr. Strickland and a whole bunch of other people on here. Toby Huss, you might know him from Seinfeld, but my God, is he amazing? Takeover for Dale Gribble in the reboot, but also as Cotton Hill, just iconic. Everyone on this. You even get Tom Petty as a regular and Breckin Meyer. Who doesn't want Breckin Meyer as a regular? Come on. But yeah, even the revival, the new release of King of the Hill, it's better than most of those reboots or bringbacks or whatever the hell you want to call that. King of the Hill is stronger than it deserves to be. But I think the time slot did a lot for that. It did preempt The Simpsons and then X-Files. So it was a shoo-in. And then they basically kept it on Sunday. Unlike News Radio, who every 7 episodes was made to change its schedule. So,
first
yeah,
10,
I think it was.
Now it's 7. Next time you talk about it, it's going to be like every episode, it was on a different day of the week.
On average, it was every 7 episodes. That show deserved better. It deserved to get into syndication. But since I can't have that, I have me some King of the Hill. I have Lady Bird. What can I say? I absolutely love this show. I can't see somebody say My Purse without thinking like, I don't know you. It's great. So watch you some King of the Hill if you haven't. That's my number 2. What you got at number 2, Warren?
My number 2 was another one that was mentioned earlier, and it is Roseanne, and it is essentially a working class, poor sitcom, and it was the one that was like, I felt like that was my family. Like my dad worked in a mill, my mom worked. My family all lived within like 2 miles of each other, so my uncle was constantly over. The grandparents were close. And Roseanne, with that comedy, it just struck a chord. I felt like I was, like, that was the closest thing I had to being represented on TV, like family-wise. Like, it really struck a chord with that look. Like I thought we were middle class because we had like a house and my dad worked in a mill. But when then I got older, I really found out real quick that we were like poor, like working class poor essentially, and struggling to pay all the bills, and just the relatability of what they went through. I remember the one where I think it was Jackie. They found out she was being abused by her boyfriend, and Dan knocked him out, and then the cops come to pick him up, and then they're like, "Hey, Dan, we got to take you in," and then she feeds him some chicken before they leave. It was like KFC. And
the best part about that though is whenever he's sitting in jail and he's like, "You got someone here to come get you," and he's like, "Oh, thank God," but it ends up being Darlene.
Oh, that was so like, good.
Well. And he's like, "Oh, Jesus Christ."
Yeah, it's a good show that balanced that kind of comedy, but they didn't seem to go too crazy with it. And then also too, they had like a lot of those sitcoms did that, where it was like once a season you had the serious thing happen. A character either passed away, or you found out like, Jackie was being abused, or someone was into drugs. I think the older sister was an alcoholic, but I don't know if that was, that was part of it. And then they replaced her. Becky? Yeah, the original Becky. Then they replaced her with the new Becky almost out of nowhere. And even though the new Becky was cuter than the old Becky. But but yeah, that was one I watched also, like Wings. It was it's not Roseanne's on, we're gonna watch it kind of deal. And it was another one where it was like, okay, I feel like I know these people, like they could have lived like next door to me. The way that show is represented.
Charles, your number 2.
My number 2 is All in the Family. I keep watching that, and for every time someone says you can't do that today, you're full of shit. First of all, people just can't maneuver it and do it well. But I watched.
All right there, meathead.
Yeah, you want to talk about progressive sitcoms? All in the Family. There's like the shit that they were tackling, and to Warren's point before, every now and again they would have like a serious episode where they managed to tackle something that was controversial for the time, and still managed to show you different perspectives and be really funny while giving you some serious stuff at the same time. I just think that people who say things like you can't make that show today, I disagree. It's just a point to the fact how well that show was crafted. I don't know how many comedians, how many writers, how many sitcoms that show influenced, but it's got to be dozens. And I really think without All in the Family, there's like a gaping hole in our entertainment.
I don't know if it's. I agree with you. Like, I don't believe that you can't make something like that today. But the problem is that no one has the balls to make anything like that today.
Well, I mean, wait till I get to my number one.
I think, but there is like there seems to be, and there might be exceptions, of course. I might not that no one will do it, but there's you're not going to have a lot of people who are going to be brave enough to do that kind of style where they take any kind of sensitive subject and do it kind of in a where it's like a more realistic, down to earth, street level kind of way, where it's not like, okay, we're trying to hammer fist in this, this thing. I know I watched the clips from Ted, and they seem to be doing a pretty good job of handling that stuff, and it's kind of like that old school way.
There's an abortion episode in Ted where it's like, whoa,
yeah,
this isn't very
you
modern.
You can do it, but you have to be brave enough to do it, because we live in a very sensitive culture, and people are really worried about huge amounts of backlash. But I really think that there's probably more want for it than what they're worried about. Like, I think that the negative voices are louder than what that they represent.
I think there's too much of a need if you're to have a modern incarnation of Archie Bunker, like the heavy-handed nature, they would have to have like to go so far in the other direction to like prove him wrong, and the show did it just fine. Like, I think you can cover these subjects without it being so childish, the way you wave your finger to the audience. Like, you don't have to talk down to the audience. You can give them the information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty sure that, like, I don't watch as much TV as I used to. I'm way too busy doing comic book stuff and drawing. So there might be plenty of shows that do it now. It's just I'm kind of out of touch with what's going on. But I've noticed it seems like people aren't as brave to do it as they used to.
But on the flip side, you can't just make a show where you just say the N-word. Like, it's got to have some sort of contextual reason. Like, I get people trying to swing so far in other directions where it's like either too sensitive or like just saying the thing because lol. Do you get it? Like, no, you can say it, but can it mean something? Can it be humorous? You just saying the N-word doesn't mean anything if you're just like trying to push boundaries. But that show had pushed boundaries and had something to say. I think it's just a testament to the quality, where people think you can't do that, but you can, but they just did it really, really well.
Yeah.
Bob, your number two?
Yeah, I'm going to give you my number two and my number one, just because I do have to jump off. Okay. I got to be up early tomorrow. But my number two is Coach.
I
love Coach.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Luther, dude. Luther.
Yeah, Coach was great. And I don't know why, if I like it so much because I was a football player in high school. So I love the football aspect of it, seeing these coaches, and he's dealing with assistants that aren't really the smartest bunch of coaches that you could have out there, but they're hilarious. And then his girlfriend Christine, she doesn't really care about football the way that he does, but he's the typical man, and he's always saying the wrong thing, which puts him at odds with Christine, where he ends up putting his foot in his mouth. But I love Coach. Coach is a fantastic sitcom. Again, this is another one that I can still laugh at to this day. I actually bought the whole series and went back and started rewatching those, and I'm still laughing my ass off with those. Yep. So I love Coach. And then for my number one, I've got Home Improvement. I think Home Improvement is, again, it's another one that's hilarious. Tim Allen is great in this. Yeah, he's great in it. The accidents that happen on Tool Time are hilarious. I love how his assistant Al is just like the opposite of him. What was
Pam
the name
Anderson
of the neighbor? Wilson.
Yes.
Yes. He's great. What was the actress's name who played Jill? Because she was great as well. I don't know why I don't know why I'm blanking on her name, but she was really good with Tim Allen. As
Patricia Heaton. Right?
Okay, was that it?
Isn't she Raymond?
Yeah, no, she was Raymond.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can't remember it.
Yeah, she was really good as well.
Patricia Richards.
Patricia Richards.
There you go. Richards. That's
Troy.
Yeah, they had great chemistry together. Kind of like Coach. Tim Allen's character in Home Improvement was the typical man, always saying the wrong thing. And some of the situations were hilarious. Like I remember this one episode where he had hired this guy to put in like some granite countertops, and he was all excited because he's like, "Oh, I finally got the granite guy," and he's all excited that he's going to get the best granite. Well, the guy turns around and hits on Jill and tries to kiss her, so she fires him and has to tell Tim that she fired him. And she's like, I hate to tell you this, but I fired the granite guy. He's like, "Oh, for a second there, I thought you said you fired the granite guy." And she's like, "Well, I did because he hit on me and tried to kiss me." And he looks at her and he goes, "You fired the granite guy?" That's what he was worried about. And so I just loved how he would always be focused on the wrong thing. But he would always get his advice from Wilson, and that was always fun interactions watching them talk life and stuff. So yeah, Home Improvement is my number one sitcom of all time.
Man, you didn't even mention Jonathan Taylor Thomas or Zachary Ty Bryan or
all of the boys were great.
Mark was.
Yeah,
well, until he turned into a goth kid. What was that?
But he comes back to towards the end of the series, he's not goth anymore. So he did kind of outgrow that phase.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bob, thank you for joining us, man. Get some sleep. Sorry it took it so long.
Oh no, it's good. I just got to get up early. Last weekend working. From now on, I should have more time to be on here longer if we run later.
Awesome.
So, all right, you guys have yourselves a good night.
Yes, sir.
See you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right,
respectable list.
Yep. So my number one is a show that is willing to go there and goes there all the time and does things that you're not supposed to do on TV. My number one is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it's still good. This past season was fucking gold. It was so good. It was like, it felt like one of their older seasons, but like there's so many good episodes of that show. Like just when they find the dumpster baby, the fact that they smoke crack and they get addicted to crack, like fucking just, and Charlie Kelly, Charlie Day as Charlie Kelly is I think one of the funniest characters on television. The Flowers for Charlie episode where they give him a placebo and he thinks like he's smart, and he thinks like at the end whenever the scientists are telling what's actually happening and Charlie gives this big speech and he's acting like he's all old and decrepit and hurt, and he's like, "I've grown weary," and they're like, "Yeah, the subject taking the placebo didn't gain any smart. He actually thought he was smart." In the arrogance of this, this guy was. It said he thought he learned Mandarin in one day, and he looks at the dude and he's like, "Hing Chao Fang Xing Chao Fang," and he's like, and then Charlie just stands up and he's like, "Yeah, let's go, let's get a pizza." And just like when the gang turned black, The first episode literally is a racial episode. It's literally the gang gets racist. And man, it's just freaking way too good, man. Way too good. I don't know. I think it's my favorite show of all time.
There's some amazing episodes. There's some classic ones. The Bird Law is always great.
Dude, that whole court scene is so good. Dude, with the uncle, he's like, he's got the small hands, but he's got the big hands taped to himself. He's like, you may remember talking to me earlier, and you might remember a man with small hands, but that is not true. And then when he points over at the dude and the hand flies off, and he's like, don't look at it! Don't look at it! The McPoyles, dude. The McPoyles.
Yeah.
Dude, Rickety Cricket. Just what they do to him, man. My God, dude. A cricket's tail. Dude, when he smokes the meth in the bathroom and has, like, you know, the vision of what his life could be. Like, dude, just, oh my God. There's so... The fact that the Thanksgiving episode where they try to squash all their beefs and they end up getting into this big food fight and they all huddle around. They're like, how did we do this? And there's a fire in Mac's bedroom. So what they do is, instead of like leaving all together, they literally nail the door shut and set the people on fire. It's like just so good, dude. So good. And the relationship between Frank and Charlie, Milk Steak. One of the episodes I wish they would have paid off on, though, was they were running a hostel, right? And they wanted to get chicks. That was like their whole thing. And they get these like really hot chicks and they fuck them and do all this stuff, but they're heroin addicts. But the first people they get was this group, these two guys that were just like Frank and Charlie. It was Nikki and Alexi. And whenever they get the girls out and they're like, man, we gotta get this back to what it was. And they go and they rush. It's like this like love scene at the end of a movie. And Nikki's like, if it's meant to be, we will be back in 1 year. And you come to this spot. And it's like, dude, it's so funny, dude. And the Nightman Cometh. That's a great episode. Just a great episode. Nightman Cometh is fantastic. It's like Charlie's music is great. And the episode where they were making fun of the fact that they've never gotten an Emmy, and it was like the gang really tries to get an award, and fucking Charlie writes that song, and he's like, what I really want to tell you all is go fuck yourself. And then they all start spitting on everybody. Like they're like the worst people. Yeah, the Rum Ham, Justin Gray, the Rum Ham. That episode where they do the Jersey Shore. That's so fucked up, man. That episode is so fucked up. Oh God. But yeah, that's such a good show. That's such a good show, man. It's got so many iconic episodes. I watch it almost every day while I work, so it's always on. And yes. But yeah. So
yeah, I fell off the last couple seasons, not because I wasn't enjoying it. I don't know why. So I gotta go back. You're saying it's still consistent? That's awesome, because I know I'm at least 2 seasons behind.
They had a season where they went to Ireland that was like, it had good stuff in it, but it wasn't as good. But this past season was fucking incredible. It was so good, dude. So good. Yes.
Well, I am excited. I got to get back into that. It's definitely on the list now.
Yep.
That was definitely a consideration. But there's one. If there's one show that I've just watched
it was
so
in
many
consideration
times
for your number one, but didn't make your list.
Didn't crack the top 10.
No, in consideration for the list, sir. Charles understood my poor way of speaking. I considered it, but yeah,
there's thing I did.
Indeed, but he knew that it was for the whole list, not just for number one.
No, I mean,
one was in consideration.
I just said, wait,
it didn't quite make it there.
He said, yeah, but it didn't make your list. He said that, not me.
Thank God he's not here.
Yeah, right.
It was a honorable mention, shall we say? It's close.
Wrath. You just keep escaping it.
There is one show that I've probably watched more times than anything else. And I guess I'm kind of looking at my list. There are ones that can kind of count for multiple ones. Like I would consider like the Simpsons category, the Simpsons, The Critic, Futurama, all those. I I feel like that's kind of where King of the Hill is the king of the hill in that category for me. With my number one, it would probably be Seinfeld. However, I think there's a show that's a little better than Seinfeld, and it's a more pure distilled version. And for me, that's Curb Your Enthusiasm, man. It is amazing. I absolutely love the 12 seasons, which should meet Charles's criteria here. But it does only have 120 episodes, so it does have enough for syndication and one special. It does have enough for syndication. However, it is kind of a low output per season. But man, it is so amazing to me. And one of the best casts, but on top of that, they're able to get like fictionalized versions of so many people playing themselves. Mary Steenburgen, Bruce Springsteen, Mel Brooks, Martin Scorsese, Christian Slater, Rob Reiner, Rosie O'Donnell. It goes on and on. Michael J. Fox. Lap's favorite, Lin-Manuel Miranda. He comes in there. But F. Murray Abraham. They all play a fictionalized, shitty version of themselves. And it is so amazing. But the kind of, I don't know, journey that this went on from this one special that was sort of improv, sort of not, to somehow making this, how many years is that? From 99 to 27 year weird 12 season thing with multi-year breaks in between. This one just affected me so much more. And it's something about the cast in this and the way that it just kind of works. I hate Jeff Garlin in almost everything that he does, but man, is he perfect as Jeff in this one, as kind of just the manager. He is just amazing in this. Cheryl Hines, who she's been good in other things. I can see why that is like Larry David's, I don't know, dream wife or whatever. She's just kind of perfect at it. And then when she's with Ted Danson in the later seasons, just so perfect. Susie Essman playing Jeff Garlin's wife, amazing. She is just she is the character that I want. There is over the topness to her, but my God, it is still believable. I believe that she is the antithesis to Larry, and I just love the interaction between them. But yeah, man. Then once you get the blacks in there, I'm talking Leon Black, JB Smoove. It is a completely different show, and it is awesome. The family is known as the Blacks. They rescue the blacks from Katrina. You haven't seen the show? It's their family. He plays the character Leon Black. He's from it's great. Once Leon is involved, it takes the show to a completely different level. And the last, I'd say 3 seasons are so strong. I absolutely dig what they were able to do and kind of the timely manner that this is. They could have done something and ground it to nothing and just kind of tarnish the legacy. But man, the fact that they were able to take like 7-year breaks between some seasons, or I guess it was more like 5 years. It worked very well. And there's only one season that gets like below a 90% rating. No, excuse me. There's season 9 gets 74, where like everything else on Rotten Tomatoes is in either the 90s or 100s. This show is utterly consistent, except for season 9. But it's not a bad season. It's the Fatwa season. It's a great season, and it makes more sense now. It has the whole Salman Rushdie thing. It's worth seeing. What can I say?
Garcia got cast in Lost because of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Dude, it's an amazing show, and it kind of set everything up for this kind of comedy verite is what they're calling it. But yeah, man, it really kind of paved the way for this improv sitcom thing. I absolutely dig it, and I love how black this show is willing to go as far as dark comedy. But yeah, that's my number one sitcom.
Is that what you meant?
Oh yeah, I'm a fan of the black comedy. Warren, sir, what you got at number one?
My number one,
Warren. I'm just gonna ask you, if you don't name 7,000 cast members, this isn't gonna work.
I only scratched the surface. I only mentioned the
threw
ones
out-
who played themselves. Do you want to know the ones who played a character?
Gray through his 10 named at least 12 per show. So you better come correct.
It's hard to follow Gray. Like, I don't want to be following Gray next week. No,
I didn't even mention Steve Buscemi. He was on there.
Oh, my number one is The Office, the American version. I've watched The Office all the way through, even though it does really fall off after Michael Scott leaves. Even though there is some gems, but when Michael Scott leaves the show, it really hurts. I'll watch it. It's like once every year, 2 years, I'll pull out all The Office and watch them. I watch the super episodes on Peacock. I mean, it's just that show quotable, just like Charles was saying. One of the best comedy sitcoms I think that I've ever watched, and I absolutely love The Office. I think Steve Carell's genius in it. That first season is sometimes it takes a couple seasons to really kick in. Like Family Guy, arguably, really took a couple seasons to get his feet under it. But The Office, I felt, was like right out of the gate was good, and it just defined that whole kind of genre of that old, like, almost what was it, like pseudo reality show type kind of deal. And yeah, it was just absolutely amazing, and quotable memes. I mean, it's still to this day, that's what she said. You could hear that all the time, even to this day. And it's all over, like, the meme wise. Michael's saying no when he found out the HR guy come back, and Jim and Pam's relationship. Dwight, arguably Dwight was the main character of the show. He was in there from the very beginning, and he had like the full arc where he would end up finally being manager of the Dublin Metro branch. And yeah, it's just, there's so many great. I think it was like the third episode was when they had to send the HR guy down because Michael had said the Chris Rock joke, and they had to go through the sensitivity training, and Michael was just screwing it up the whole time. And yeah, that's just, if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. I think it's an amazing, amazing show, and it's one that has some really good highs. And then when Michael leaves, there is some good stuff in there, but it does kind of falter off quite a bit because Michael was kind of like the engine of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that's good. Number one. Charles, your number one, sir.
Guess it's kind of boring. Something that was a big deal far before I was even alive. Mm-hmm. Kind of big on a lot of people's lists. A lot of people who enjoyed it when it was out. My grandparents mostly. It's I Love Lucy.
That's your number one?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just
the prototype.
It's just classic comedy, and the fact that it was Lucille Ball, that was like everything, like a funny lady doing physical humor on top of, it just, listen, there's some of the stuff that I don't understand. The fact that Ricky and Lucy slept in different beds, I guess that's part of what television had to be at that point. That stuff I can't understand.
Be surprised. No, you'd be surprised. A lot of people did back in like the 40s.
Oh, yeah. Right. I'm saying is, a lot of it made sense, but that was like, hey, why did
it was?
Husband
Yeah,
and
no,
wife
okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things that most of my youth, because my grandparents watched it so much, my family members, the women in my family watched it so much. As a child, I still kind of got it and enjoyed it. The fucking when they overcook the bread and the bread comes pouring out of the kitchen and into the living room. Funny shit. When she works at the chocolate factory, like that's just like top 5 legendary sitcom moments.
Yes. just when she shows up on Ricky's shows randomly because she's never supposed to, but she does, and he just. I mean, I know it's so stereotypical because of the Lucy, but she's never supposed to, but she's the entertainer, even though he's the actual entertainer. Right. And it's like, it's so perfect.
The funny thing is, it's stereotypical now because of that show.
But wasn't then.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just think it's interesting that we all have rather scattered lists.
Yeah. I think only a couple of shows overlapped. I think like The Office
Roseanne,
for you guys. Roseanne would have been was like there was 3 shows that were like number 11 for me. Like Roseanne, it's just I didn't watch Roseanne when it was on. I watched it later, so it was like not as I still like it, and I think like if it was maybe impacted like after, but I kind of did like shows that I watched like when I was young or like that were very impactful for me. But Roseanne, man, Roseanne, I think it's one of those shows that gets a lot of credit, but it doesn't get the credit it deserves for what it tackled. It gets credit for, Roseanne Barr was a funny woman and she was very cutting edge. And it's like, yeah, but the show's writing, the way that it wrote people, they acted like people I knew, and it showed a side of the American family that people were not willing to admit was the dominating, factor out there. There was a lot more families like that than there were like, let's just like the Cosbys or, or any of the other, shows like that. There were, or Full House, you know what I mean? I think people watched those shows too because they related in a way that they wanted to live like that. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to be able to have that house in San Francisco that just seemed to ever expand and expand and expand and expand. Like imagine how much that house would cost. You're living in like a $4 million house. Like
but that was the funny thing, you like with Friends. It's like none of them had really high paying jobs.
No.
Yet if you like when you grow up and you're all like, okay, I want to get a job down in the city like Friends and I want to have an apartment, and then you see the cost of it. It's like those old movies in the 80s where you see the artist and he rides his motorcycle to his loft with the elevator, and it's like this massive warehouse loft, and then you realize that it's like $20,000 a month if you want to live like that.
You mentioned that in Friends though, because I guess Monica got
it
from her grandmother, and it was rent controlled.
Plus,
they actually did mention that. So
Mrs. Chenandler Bong didn't do so bad for himself. I'm just saying.
Chenandler Bong, he did work with the weenus. So that
one show that I
go ahead.
Couldn't get myself to put on the list, but I enjoyed it just because it made me laugh, and it was just silly. It was just pure stupidity. Is Three's Company? I enjoyed it for just silly reasons, but it's not something that I could say like, desert island kind of situation, but it's just funny.
Ritter is pretty amazing.
Which
almost anything that John Ritter.
Three's Company.
Three's Company.
Oh yeah.
Come on, come and knock on our door.
Come and knock at our door.
We've been waiting for you.
We'll be waiting for you.
Another set of attractive blondes, depending on which one you're talking about. Priscilla Barnes is my favorite.
A couple of the comments. Adam brings up Golden Girls would probably be his number one. I dig me some Golden Girls. It's
Girls
definitely
is funny.
Oh, Golden Girls!
I love
great.
it, man. I even like this weird one that they kind of tried to bring it back, but this time gay or gayer. Mid-Century Modern. It's almost the exact same sitcom, but this time we've got Nathan Lane in it. It was all right, but nothing is better than Sophia, and they just Rue McClanahan. Man, I love me some Golden Girls. They could not have gotten the casting more correct on that show.
Did like some pretty like hard-hitting episodes as well. Like they did some
true,
like when a couple of the one it found out like what was the old woman's name in the show the real old one.
Sophia.
When I remember they found out like some stuff about her husband, something in the war or something like that. Then maybe he had another. I can't remember exactly what it was, but she lived with that and didn't tell her daughter and stuff like that. And like it was like she took that grief and still held him as the man that she remembered him to be, or was something like that. I can't remember everything, but like you could believe those characters, and I think that's one of the things that we're missing a lot in television, in the forefront. I'm not going to say like there are shows that you'll find like on HBO or stuff like that, some streaming shows, but like regular network TV, there's no the believability is gone. Like even though I know they're actors, I believe that that B. Arthur was Maud and then went over to what I mean. Like I believe that.
She seemed like a.
I'm just saying, like it feels like that. It's a lot of that's gone, and it's like if you don't have that, then the show itself is doomed to fail, in my opinion. And that's why we have these shows that like last for like 8 seasons, and then you're like, what the fuck show is that? What are you talking about? Like what? That's a thing? Like okay, and nobody watches any of it. AJ Daniels 99. He asked, did any of you watch Fresh Prince Martin? Fresh Prince was on. Fresh Prince was. It was going to be number 10 on my list. That was one of the ones. Martin, wasn't one of my favorite shows, but I used to watch Rock live a lot because I liked it. I thought it was really good because I thought Rock tackled some of the stuff like, because I did live in a Pittsburgh neighborhood that was not so good. So I related to some of the things that they did. And I liked the way that Rock didn't take no shit, and he was like that type of character. And they showed, how can I say, they showed the real side of what suburban Black America was dealing with, but they did it in a way that was relatable to everybody. And I did like that. I thought he did a very good job. And me and my buddy Wayne used to watch that show. He's the one that turned me on to that. So like I did like those shows, but I did not
Martin
watch.
Was
I didn't
awesome.
watch. I didn't see enough of Martin. I knew it was
dude.
on.
I snuck
but
it.
I had to watch it secretly.
And Living
when I
Single
was
another one I would sneak too.
Living Single was awesome as well. When I was banned from watching Eddie Murphy movies because I swore, I had to sneak to watch Martin Lawrence. But man, I love me some Martin. That show was awesome. That and Married with Children were like ones I wasn't allowed to watch, but I found a way to watch them.
Stiff Kittens asked, speaking of Rock, was 30 Rock anywhere near your lists? I did not watch 30 Rock.
Likewise.
So I can't tell you. My brother loves the show and told me to watch it. So I can't, I didn't, so I don't know.
Dude, I love me some 30 Rock. I chose Clerks the Animated Series as my other Alec Baldwin sitcom, but let me tell you, those are like my top 3. They're at least in the top 10 of my Alec Baldwin sitcoms. I love me some 30 Rock, though. Amazing jokes on there, amazing characters. Absolutely love that show. It came close. It would definitely be an honorable mention. And Stiff Kittens also mentioned no Larry Sanders, though. And I was really interested in Larry Sanders. I love that show. I think for me, it just barely got edged out by I think I'd go Arrested Development on that. My Jeffrey Tambor, I like him a little bit more as a Bluth.
So Justin Gray says, I think it's weird when people say I wasn't allowed to watch that when I was a kid. Well, I could tell you, whenever I was 10, we moved from New Jersey to West Virginia to join a crazy church cult. So there was a lot of things I wasn't allowed to watch. And it was weird. Like we were allowed to watch certain things that like I look back and I'm like, wait, I was allowed to watch that, but why wasn't I allowed to watch this? Like some didn't make any sense. So I'm sure there's things that other people weren't allowed to watch, but then there was parents that, trusted their kids, like my son, David. I mean, he's young, but there's certain things that I let him watch where I'm like, okay, he's not gonna get this, but he thinks it's funny, and I see it's like it's not harmful to his, to his upbringing. So there's things that I let him watch. My son Steven, like whenever he was 16, I pretty much told him, like, I was like, hey man, I don't give a shit what you watch or what you do. I was like, as long as you don't get in trouble and you debase, like, this is fake and you're real. So, don't mold yourself after things that you watch. That's not your personality.
I just wasn't allowed to pick what was on TV. That's why I wasn't allowed. I was jealous of all the kids in school. Like, oh, mom puts this on because, to keep me quiet. I'm like, I don't get that treatment. I have to watch what she's watching.
AJ Daniels 99 says this will be a generational thing, but That's So Raven is one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm a little bit too. I was a little bit too old for was that Disney?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit too old for like when Disney had their like youth shows, like the teen shit. I think I was like already in my 20s.
So you didn't like iCarly is what you're saying?
My son loved iCarly.
He's not saying that.
My son loved that show. My oldest son Steven, he loved that show. That was one of the shows we watched as a family. I didn't really care about it, but he loved it. So, let's see. Yeah, pretty much a lot of people have. I thought this would be a good topic because I knew people would have a lot of opinions. So like I knew the chat would talk a lot about it, and I'm glad that you guys participated in this. It went way longer than our norm. Like we had so much more to say this than some of the movies that we talk about. But so I will let these guys know what we're gonna do next week. And I will have a post up on the Last Panel YouTube channel. So if you guys are subscribed, you'll be able to see like the post, and it'll tell you what's going to happen next week. And once I have that up, we'll have what's going to be going on for the next 2 weeks. So you'll know next week what's going to happen the week after, and the same and same and same. So I've just got my new schedule for work. It sucks, but I will be able to make Tuesdays and Fridays. So I'm happy about that. But all right. What do you guys got coming up, Gray? What do you got coming up, sir?
Yeah, Tuesday. Just this channel, but Tuesdays. Come on over. Good times. I think there might be something themed around the calendar this time, but we'll see. Come join us. We talk about comedy and such, and it'll be a good time. You'll enjoy yourself.
Warren?
I've been concentrating everything on the show I've got this weekend, but it will be over on Sunday. So Monday I will be back with another Art Brothers show with Melvin Cruz. We are going to be doing Lobo art to kind of celebrate the new Lobo series by Scotty.
Just
written by Scotty
phenomenal.
Oh, issue 2 was amazing. And Tuesday I am going to start pages of How the Squirrels Saved My Town. For the first issue, I got everything all set for that. So Monday will be Art Brothers, and then Tuesday I'll be hitting hard on the Squirrel Book, and that'll be pretty much mostly what I'm streaming on my channel. Will be working on those pages and getting that stuff done, aside from every once in a while doing the Art Brothers show and stuff like along those lines. But it will be mostly primarily squirrels fighting insectoids probably for the next 3 months. So
yeah, and Warren, our show will be coming back. I'm gonna set up a thing. I gotta talk to him about a day, and then we'll put that schedule out, and we'll be sticking to that schedule because that'll be pretty much the only time I'll be able to do it. So we'll have that coming up, and I think our next show will be the start of the review of the Sig and Joe, the Adventures of Sig and Joe. So we're gonna do that because I read the whole thing. I actually read it a couple weeks ago, but actually I'm rereading it right now to get brushed up on everything, and I will tell you about it. I enjoyed it, and there's a particular part in a chapter that that I found extremely hilarious, and I will tell you about it. And I did enjoy it, and I there's something that I'm going to tell Warren. I'll tell him now. I did tell my friend Chris Stevens about it, who does work in the comic book industry, and he definitely wants to read it. So I might buy him a copy. So
yeah, no problem.
Yeah. But Charles, what do you got coming up, sir?
Tuesday, Friday stuff.
Are you gonna stream any fighting clankers? And
I don't know. I've had a difficult time. Feels like the playing for longer than 45 minutes thing is contagious between both my systems. I think it's a me thing. Yeah, I don't want to make any false promises, but I tried doing something the other day and it within an hour cut. So
are you hardlined or are you Wi-Fi-ing?
I don't have hardline because this is multiple stories, this building.
Gotcha. Oh, it's a building Wi-Fi. It's not your Wi-Fi. Okay. I don't know. I could tell you that my PlayStation had a crash out once, but they had a fix for it, and since then I haven't had any issues with it. So it might be a Wi-Fi issue. It could be that. It could be.
I felt better when people said that they fixed this thing on the PlayStation version. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then suddenly Xbox starts bricking. Where the other thing I have to do is, if I'm done with it, I need to quit. Because if like you do that like resume thing,
yes,
if you turn it on and then like it's still on, like all of the maps are empty and it like does not recognize whatever the updated time shit is.
Yeah.
So it could be a me. I don't know.
Gotcha. So yeah, I got TGIT last panel. And I have a couple videos that I am trying to finish, man. Like I'm like right here with a couple of videos, but I don't write anything for any of the videos. If you ever watch any of the Laps Comic Fan stuff, all the like skits and all the stuff that I do, I don't write anything. I just kind of sit here, and if something comes to me, I just go, okay, I'll put that sounds funny. And I'm trying to end this one video and I don't know what to do. And it's been bothering me and I just don't have the right ending for it. So, because I'm trying to introduce another character that goes along with old Batman. And there's like going to be like a little spin-off thingamajig that I do for shorts and stuff. But yeah, hopefully I can get that done and have some more videos. This summer I will be able to make videos. I have a whole bunch of interviews coming up. I get to interview a bunch of temps. So I might record that because that's going to be fun. That will be interesting. What Justin Gray says, I think I might kill myself if I see another second of Morgan J. we booped him. We booped him. Look at those socks. Look at him. Look at this show. I'm going to hit the end stream button right now. Look at it. End it.